that joke today.
No, I'm wearing.
A catalytic converter is an exhaust emission control device that converts toxic gases and pollutants and exhaust gas from an internal combustion engine into less toxic pollutants by catalyzing a redox reaction. Catalytic converters are usually used with internal combustion engines fueled by petrol or diesel, including lean burn engines and sometimes on kerosene heaters and stoves. So apparently it effectively filters out the toxic exhaust of engines, filters out the bad stuff, so it's a little less terrible for the environment. I'm only asking because back home in Pensacola, Florida, I'm reading a news story that last night alone, 8 people were arrested for catalytic converter theft. And I'm trying to figure out, like, why? Like, what is it? Are catalytic converters like made of copper or something? And I'm asking that as a sincere question because I see this all the time. All the time I see, this guy arrested for theft of a catalytic converter. And I am dumb and don't know why that's like such a popular thing. And I'm just curious. Texter says they are lined with platinum.
Really? Okay. I don't believe that's true. It could be. Not platinum.
I just typed in why do people steal, and the first thing that came up was steal catalytic converters. Thieves target catalytic converters because they contain precious metals. He was serious. The texter was correct.
Wow.
How about you, Zoe? Doubting the people.
I apologize.
Thieves target catalytic converters because they contain precious metals like platinum, palladium, or rhodium that are valuable to metal dealers. Texter, bravo, dog. You nailed it.
And again, I'm dumb. So, I just immediately thought, there's just no way. Platinum is it's too expensive to be put in catalytic converters, but now we know why they want them.
Website is to indicate recyclers pay $50 to $200 to legally obtain a failed converter or one from a junk vehicle, but industry sources say with a high price of precious metals, it's possible for processors to make several $100s per unit selling the contents to a metal refinery. Another texter says a catalytic converter is what you blame when you fart. So we have one texter that hits us with a flatulence joke, and another one who's like, I own it. I know it. Texter says, I'm a landscaper in the upstate, and landscaping trucks have been getting catalytic converters all summer. It's all for the platinum. How about that, Lonzo? You can make your wife's engagement ring out of a catalytic converter. Who knew? Who knew?
I'm pretty excited about learning something like that because I knew they were valuable, but I never took the time to look up why. And now we know, and now all the listeners know.
Yeah, learn something new today.
It's a good day.
Learn something new today. Thank you, texters. Thank you very much. Speaking of,
I will. That would be a lie.
That is true. That is a lie. Lonzo will doubt you every time you say a thing. Doubting Lonzo, I believe, is what they call him in certain parts.
Yeah, don't add another nickname. You've got too many. There's no way you can remember them all.
I remember them. All right. 844-477-3776. 844-GSP-ESPN. Text line's open. English Market text line at 71307. If you have other catalytic converter facts, I'm here for them. I'm trying to learn something new today. Walk out of here new with new knowledge every day. That's our goal.
By the way, this is kind of in behind the scenes, but Virginia Dare did not survive.
Okay.
I had to look that up.
No, I respect it. And I also needed to know after you said it. Lonzo, you know what I need you to do, honestly? I need you to start bringing the trivia questions you answer on that show onto this show. Like, bring the questions over and let's see. You're going to smoke me because I've listened to some of the questions like every day. Lonzo on his other show on WRD, the show ends with the host of that show asking Lonzo, 3, 4, 5 trivia questions?
Today was 8. But
8 trivia questions?
Yeah, and I got 6 out of 8, I think.
Okay. Asking Lonzo 3 to 8 trivia questions, from history, and Lonzo has to answer them on the air. And I have listened, and there are some tough ones. I get about half the ones Lonzo gets, so I need you, Zoe, to start writing those down and bringing them in here during our show just to see how I do against the great one.
I've been accused of cheating by some people too, which I do not do. I've had people in the room tell me answers, and I disqualify myself from answering that question because it's like being on a game show because we're doing it in front of thousands and thousands of people. And, at least I don't see those people, but still there's pressure on it.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, this person was born, I believe, in 1595, the first child born in this place. And the answer was Virginia Dare. He gave me the name, Virginia Dare. She was actually born in Roanoke. So my question was, did she survive? Because if you know the history of Roanoke,
nobody else did.
Yeah, a bunch of people just vanished, and they never actually figured out why. And I needed to know, and I looked it up, and she did not survive.
There you go.
They have records of her birth, but after that.
I think if you'd have given me the name, I'd have got it right. But if you would have asked me for the name, I would not have. Like one of those, where like you remember the name but not what they're famous for.
There have been so many movies and series you mentioned, Ron, about Roanoke that the name is always there. And I believe the show Supernatural did a Roanoke thing, and I believe her name was mentioned during that.
844-477-3776. So with all that being said, with your random historical trivia out of the way, I guess here on the Sports Talk Show, we should talk sports.
By the way, you're not going to get that on the Man Show.
The Man Show, you're going to get a guy telling the host of the show for men, my girlfriend knows more about sports than me, and the host saying, you should break up with her. No, you should not.
No, that's what we call a keeper.
Yes, That's the opposite of what you should do. If you have a woman who knows more than sports about you, you should keep her around. A, she can teach you, and B, that's how you show off to your friends, my man. Do you know what I got told on Sunday? I got told, hey, Rob, I need you to find a spot that we can go tailgate the St. Panthers game and all the home Carolina games. I'll take care of all the tailgating. I just need you to get us a spot. That's a keeper, son. That's a good thing. And I got both hosts of the show for men telling this man to dump the woman who loves sports. No, that's the opposite.
That's macho compensating.
Yeah,
what that is. I'm a little bit surprised that half of that show did that.
I am surprised that half of the show, and I feel like we agree on which half of the show did that.
I think we did. Yeah.
I was a little shocked by the half of the show that did that.
There's a person that kind of the Cam Newton attitude to a certain degree. Remember when Cam Newton got in trouble during a press conference for questioning a female knowing sports?
Yes.
I think a certain half of that doesn't believe that women
go
to sports and know anything about sports.
Yeah, that's bad.
Which is also ridiculous.
Yeah, if your girl knows more about sports than you, that's a unicorn, son. That's keeper. 10 of 10. Would recommend. All right. Now I want you to make sure she's sincere because I know I've gotten the short end of a stick by a woman who pretended to be a big sports fan until she got me, and then she trapped me.
Well,
like, you don't do sports anymore. The half of the show, the half we're talking about, our buddy Diesel has just texted because he's listening. I am shocked to say, and said, "Were you not listening?" I told him she's a keeper, so I misread the situation. Diesel is on team show for you boys.
So we were right about the half that we were talking about.
Correct.
And I just want to, we want you to listen to every show, but person who texted this into the show for men, you are welcome here.
Diesel said he also called her a unicorn, and Diesel is correct. If you find the woman who knows more about sports than you do, you have found a diamond in the rough. You have found a unicorn. You hang on to that one. All right?
And take her to sports trivia and win some stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You kidding me? Absolutely. Let's break down 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, the dog, whoever it is you spend your lunch break with. Diesel, I apologize sincerely. I think maybe I was so in shock by the other half of the show saying that that's not a keeper that I just blanked out on the whole thing, went white hot with rage, and completely bleached my mind of it.
I just want to point out that I didn't believe that from the beginning. That's why I cast out on there.
Good man. Item number 1 of the lunch breakdown. Big 12 has revised their COVID policy. They have said now that if a team is not capable of fielding enough players to compete due to COVID-19 or for any other reason, that they will be charged with a forfeit. The league said for conference games, it will be handled as if a game has been played. The team that forfeits will be credited with a loss, and the opponent will be credited with a win. So unlike in the past, in situations in years gone by where we have had forfeits be charged as an L1 team and the other team does not get a W this year, you will be handing a win to the other team. The forfeit can be declared at any point before a game is completed. If both teams are unable to play, the game will be declared no contest. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby has the discretion to deem a game a no contest, quote, if extraordinary circumstances warrant, end quote, that according to a press release out of the Big 12 earlier in the day. So we will keep an eye on that. But there you go. If you thought that we are done with COVID, we still are not. And I'm tired of saying that. You'll notice, I'll bring that up later on in the show. Item number 2, 2 stories out of the University of South Carolina. The Gamecocks, South Kakalaki, baby. A story that a lot of people panicked about yesterday. But I'm going to tell you not to. All right? Chill, slow your roll. Relax just a little bit. South Carolina, obviously, we know Luke Doty, broken foot. We talked about that earlier in the week. Got it over the weekend. We are still waiting to find out what the long-term ramifications of this are going to be. But suffice to say, we do know it is going to cost Luke Doty some amount of time away from the starting role of the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Well, they needed somebody to fill out the rest of that quarterbacking room, and they did not have to look far. Graduate assistant Zeb Nolan has been promoted to the active roster. Shane Beamer told reporters yesterday that Nolan will be practicing at quarterback. Luke Doty had a sprained ankle, questionable to play in the season opener September 4th against Eastern Illinois. How does Nolan have experience? Well, Zeb Nolan was most recently Trey Lance's backup at North Dakota State, began his career at Iowa State, threw for 1,255 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a pair of picks in 9 games. Then he went to North Dakota State, spent some time behind Trey Lance, who was killing it in San Francisco right now. Came to South Carolina in June with eligibility remaining, but an intent to serve as a grad assistant coach, and had been working with wide receivers coach Justin Stepp. But when Doty was injured and the Gamecocks were down to 3 active QBs, Beamer added Nolan to the mix. Whether he will appear in any time is unclear, but Beamer left the door open to that possibility. Of the 3 active scholarship quarterbacks available, none have SEC experience. Jason Brown, a redshirt senior, last played at the FCS level. Connor Jordan, redshirt sophomore, former walk-on. And, of course, we know that Colton Gauthier is a former 3-star prospect, true freshman who enrolled in January. And now you have Zeb Nolan, who came up after spending some time behind Trey Lance at North Dakota State.
I've never met a Zeb before.
I played with a kid whose last name was Zebdanewski, and we called him Zeb, but his real name wasn't Zeb. I wonder if Zeb Nolan's real name is Zeb.
Well, it's cool for him getting the opportunity. It's a shame that the reason why he's getting the opportunity.
It is. You hate it for Luke Doty and you hate it for the Gamecocks, right? But the good news is, unlike Clemson, who was starting off with the draw. I mean, what if South Carolina had Florida right out of the gate and Luke Doty was the guy, right? That's a different story. But you got Eastern Illinois. You got time. If it's a sprained ankle and he's out 4 or 5 weeks, you got a couple of games up front that you got some time to let him settle in, right? You got some time to settle in and let him be okay. We're going to talk more about that coming up later in the show. But the other story that came out of South Carolina yesterday, and I kind of love this, Kind of love this. How about this for the Gamecocks? Talk about momentum, right? On Sunday, I was over in Columbia, and the girlfriend and I went and we scoped out Williams-Brice. It was the first time I've actually gotten to go put eyes on the football stadium. And I got to tell you, Lonzo, I was impressed with their football stadium. I got to tell you.
Wait till you get inside and go inside the press box and things like that. It's a newer stadium, especially compared to some other stadium in the area.
I got to tell you, here comes the heat. Here comes the smoke, Zoe. I have now been to both stadiums. Williams-Brice is nicer. Williams-Brice is a nicer stadium. All right. And that's not a shot. I think there's probably more character and personality over in Death Valley. I think it's got a little bit more age. It's got a little bit more history, a little bit more character to it. But in terms of just look and feel, Williams-Brice is an NFL, like a small NFL caliber stadium.
Without looking at the text line, I'm sure there are winning championships like one.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, that's it's fair.
And that's fine. It's absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair.
It still is a nicer stadium. I've been in both a couple times, and I prefer the Gamecocks stadium.
Now, as far as excitement goes, so the point I was telling you for this story is when we got there, and we got up to Williams-Brice, the lady friend wanted to do two things. She wanted to get a picture of the big Sir Spurs statue, the big chicken they put out front. And don't you call it a chicken, Lonzo. They will come for you if you call it a chicken.
Well, you just did.
It's a gamecock.
Okay,
call it a chicken.
It's a gamecock, a fighting
gamecock. I think all gamecocks are fighting. I think to be a gamecock.
But it sounds more vicious if you say fighting gamecock.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you're going to say it's redundant because I get that.
But I get what you're saying. Anyway, she wanted a picture of the Gamecock statue, and she wanted a picture of the Welcome Home banner that's hanging out front of Williams-Brice. So we got to the stadium to go take a picture. Lonzo, there had to be 30 cars of people who just parked on the side of the road to take pictures with the big Sir Spur, the big Gamecock statue and the banner. There were people everywhere. And then yesterday, South Carolina announced that a record number of new season ticket sales in one season had been accomplished. They are at 8,370 new season ticket sales so far. They are aiming to reach over 9,000, and they are well on their way to reaching that goal. So I got to tell you, I think the Fighting Chickens are freaking hype about Shane Beamer right now.
Just big powers that be in South Carolina. You could have did this a couple of years ago. You could have. Some of us were calling for Will Muschamp to be gone a long time ago. You could be enjoying this for the third or fourth year in a row. But instead, you held on to him.
Yeah, I agree. It was a bad call. They're paying for it, but how exciting for them, man! They got eyes on 9,000 new season tickets sold, the most they have ever sold in a season. There are people literally lined up around the stadium, Lonzo, to take pictures of it in the offseason, to take pictures of the stadium in the offseason when nobody else there, no football players, no cheerleaders, no band. People just want pictures of a banner that says welcome home. They are lined up 30 cars deep around the stadium to take pictures of it. That's impressive.
Because of my busy schedule, I haven't been able to go to a game in a couple of years, and
we're going this year.
I haven't been able to go since the statue was put in place, and I definitely want a picture in front of that statue.
Oh, that's cool.
That thing looks wicked.
It's cool, and it's so much bigger than I thought it was. So much bigger than I thought it was. Here, look at the size of that. That's a big damn chicken.
I was going to say, I do follow you on social media, so
you've seen it.
I've already seen the picture, and I pay attention when your posts come up. Well, most of them.
There you go.
There's a couple I just kind of disregard. You know,
there at the Rob Brown Show on Twitter. Let's take a break. When we come back, item number 3, Brett Favre has been trending on Twitter. You're about to find out why. And you have young cheering. Brett Favre wants to have a word with you. I'll tell you why when we come back. Rob Lonzo with ESPN Upstate.
the qualifying metric. On-track qualifying this weekend. Kyle Larson, he is set to start from the pole.
I appreciate that, Ben. I don't know if it's on the entire planet. The planet's very large, but I know we are the best in one particular region of the planet.
Look at the planet. Let's go universe, man. How about multiple dimensions? Aim high.
Can't prove to me there are no other sports shows in the universe, Alonzo.
Have you, I will tell you, in the multiverse, we're number one in every single one of them. Have you seen the new Charlotte Flair t-shirt?
I have not.
Let me see if I can send this to you.
I saw Oscar's hilarious photos yesterday, though.
All right, and I am, when you're looking at it, I just put it on, DM'd it in theory to you on Twitter.
In theory.
Because lately when I do that, it doesn't seem to get there. I'm talking about the shirt on the right, if you actually get it.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to it. We're going to be playing clip 6 in this segment coming up.
Okay.
Find out if joint pain is affecting your quality of life by taking a free health assessment. Don't let hip or knee pain hold you back. Learn more at prismahealth.org.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
We're talking about the one on the throne. You don't see.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, that one's better.
click on it, and you can see there's something on the sleeve too. I think that looks really cool.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Haters are definitely not going to like it.
Yeah,
but,
that's
you
not
know.
bad.
I would say this, Stephen, if you understand how the multiverse works, I think there are some constants. Who they are in one universe is probably the same in every single universe. And I believe he might be the same in every single universe. Good for him. It's, consistency. What in the world did you just do? Why did you do that?
I'll show you in just a second. But our buddy Joe, I have to take a print screen because our buddy Joe, if you can, well, you can't see it from there. Let me move it.
I can walk around. I got
No, I can move it down to the bottom.
got 30 seconds.
Our buddy Joe has just sent me a picture of his attire at work today.
Wow.
Very random,
Wow.
right?
Look at that.
Right?
So you're about to throw that up there. Okay. I got you.
So for those of you that are curious as to what Lonzo and I were talking about there,
Is that acceptable though? I mean,
our
people.
buddy Joe has
yeah.
just tweeted in his outfit at work today. And
Good to know he also works in a place that doesn't exactly have a dress code.
that is his house, is his basement.
Okay.
That has a golf simulator and a huge TV and a beer fridge, et cetera, et cetera. And he's one of the ones that's like, I don't want to go back to the office.
Man cave, baby.
Clip number 6. As Brett Favre, who has been, I would say, outspoken about a number of items in the past. Brett Favre, who has been outspoken in the past about his opinions on things, made a help make, I guess is the right way to put it. Help make a PSA about CTE. And that PSA, well, here, I'll just play it for you. Here is what old Brett Favre had to say about letting your kids play football when they are young. Here's Brett Favre.
Mom, Dad, let's talk about tackle football. I just learned about CTE, the brain disease caused by repeated hits to the head. The more years I play, the more I'm at risk. If you put me in tackle today,
by the time I'm a senior in high school, I'll have played 13 years of tackle football. I could already have CTE, and it will continue to destroy my brain even after I stop playing. So by the time I'm your age,
I could be fighting depression, struggling to keep my thoughts straight. I could become violent, even towards my own children. When I'm your age, what will matter to me is not my youth football career, but that, like you, I'm a great parent and I can provide for my family.
so please, keep me out of tackle football until I'm 14.
So that's the PSA. You heard Brett Favre at the end. The premise of the PSA was that they had the voice you heard at the beginning was a kid, and he was under 14, and he's like, Mom, Dad, don't let me play tackle football when I'm this age. And then he metamorphosized it into a high school level kid, and then he's like, yeah, by now I'll have played a lot of games and I'll already be showing symptoms. And then he turned into Brett Favre, and he's like, I'll be violent and angry and have outbursts against my family and yada, 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 yada. And
send pictures to someone that I shouldn't be, things like that.
Yeah, make outrageous and factually incorrect statements about things that I have no idea about. Consistently find myself getting blasted by my former fans, etc., etc. The thing is here, though, he's right? Like it's been proven at this point that kids who play full contact tackle football under the age of 14 are at a risk. That's just a fact at this point. We know that. We can prove that to be true. He is correct in that, but that doesn't make it. That does not make it comfortable for people to hear, right? Like it doesn't make it comfortable for people to hear. That being said, I'm intrigued. I am intrigued if anybody will be paying attention to Brett Favre based on his advice here. Brett has been a dude that for the past couple of years has been taking some heat for things that he has said, and Brett has been taking some heat for the way that he has acted in certain situations. And you gotta wonder if if this will change anybody's opinion.
I am curious about something. I wonder how many present NFL players started playing tackle football at 14.
I'm sure the majority of them.
No, I disagree. I would say the majority of them, or quite a few of them, started playing in Pee Wee tackle football, not waiting until they were 14 for contact.
Oh, you said how many played after 14? Rephrase your question.
Didn't play until they were 14. Didn't play tackle football until they were 14. How many of those? Because I just don't believe it.
I bet you the majority of NFL players played contact football before they were 14.
Right.
Okay. The majority of them probably did. I played Pee Wee ball. My little brother played Pee Wee ball. Most of the people I know played Pee Wee ball. But we also used to ride bikes without helmets and build homemade ramps out of 2x4s and plywoods that we stole out of construction lots.
You mean you were a kid?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And I'm guessing, these other kids are kids, and you can take the tackle football away from them. They're going to find other ways to hurt themselves and hit their heads and all that because they're kids. That's what they do. But you're also, and I understand the dangers of CTE, but you're also taking away opportunities for one thing, to find out how talented your kid actually is, because there are going to be some kids not being able to play till high school, and they won't be nearly as developed as all these other kids, so they're immediately at a disadvantage. Unless you can across the slate say, okay, this is it. No kids are allowed to play tackle football until they're 14, period. You're going to get kids who are going to come in at a disadvantage if you don't let them play. And I think a parent who recognizes the talent of their kid, they're going to let them play tackle football before they're 14.
I am intrigued to see if there are any power. Let me phrase that. Will any of you that are out there that are parents, are any of you likely to be swayed by this? Right? Playing youth football is a rite of passage. Is a rite of passage for a lot of folks. It is a rite of passage for families, for kids in their families, right? Like that's a moment where the first time you can dress your kid out in tackle football. That's the moment. Will you, knowing that studies on CTA have started to show that if your kid plays young, they are more likely to struggle with it down the line.
Have you ever been to a Pee Wee game for kids that are 8, 9, 10 years old? The speed of the game, the chances of that kind of damage happening are very minimal because they're just not fast enough to do that kind of damage. I think the damage happens as the players get bigger, stronger, and faster. And at that age, they're developing to a degree. Now you'll get a couple kids that are freaks of nature that can hit people that hard.
Yeah, I remember we had a kid on our team that when he was in the youth league, they put a green sticker on the back of his helmet, and he was only allowed to play on the offensive line, and he was only allowed to pass block. He couldn't actively go up the field. He had to step back and pass block every play. And after a while, Travis Michael, he went on to be a D2 offensive lineman, I think. After a while, they actually had to move him up with the older kids because he was just wrecking little kids in our group.
And that tends to happen, especially in the rec league level and some of the other levels. When a kid is that big, they just move them up. So having had a child play rec league from the time he was, I guess it was 7 or 8, all the way up through high school, I saw the progressions of speed. And when the hitting started happening, the kind of hitting that would be damaging wasn't until later. And no, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor, but I can see the speed of a game and know that they're not moving fast enough to hurt each other in this way.
Yeah, the thing is though, like you said, they kind of are, because it's not about the force of the impact. It's about the fact that their brains are jello. They're not developed yet. So the contact works in a different way, right? Like if I throw a rock at a wall, nothing's going to happen to it. But if I throw a cup of jello at the wall, it's going to go everywhere. That's that. I don't know. It's just weird. I'm just curious if whether or not there are parents who will have any sort of reaction to, because Brett Favre's a good old Southern boy, right? This isn't some I'm trying to think of how to put this, but like some big New York football player coming down, some big Northern guy coming. This is a Southern Miss Golden Eagle, legend of Mississippi football Southerner.
In the end, each parent should do the research and make their own decision. But I don't believe Brett Favre is going to sway someone one way or another.
Fair enough. Texter says, if I learned anything over the last year and a half, it's that the people around these parts have no problem ignoring medical advice. That's on you, Texter. That is not Rob Brown. Quick break. Back after this. I got more for you on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Stop living with that awful joint pain. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. We're excited to tell you about QC Kinetics. Right here in Greenville and Ashland, QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies, regenerative solutions that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips. Patients here are raving about getting lasting results from QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. 864-448-3772. If you have chronic joint pain, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about new biologic therapy options now available here. Restorative, regenerative treatments for joint pain. Finally, call the local local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. Get your life back without pain. 864-448-3772.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Want to hear something?
See, we have to do another one of those meetings in October.
Uh-huh. I did see that.
Well, I can't wait for that.
Uh-huh.
How amazing is that?
I think I'm just going to do the I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I will give you $5 if you say that to open when they say, this is Alonzo. Alonzo, introduce yourself. If you say, I'm just here so I don't get fined, I will give you $5 on the spot.
Well, seeing as how we will more than likely both be in the same room, I will put my hand up and expect the $5 to be put in my hand on the screen when I do this.
You think this one will be in person?
No,
Because the sales staff are back in the pit downstairs.
not all of them.
Not all of them, but I've seen all of them that have done anything with us down there.
I hope
The Thackus
not.
says he'll match $5 if you'll do it on a. We may have to stream that.
No,
I may go in there if it's in person. I will go in early, hide the phone on a live stream in the back, press conference style.
Well, if it's in person, they will set us up in front of them.
That's what I'm saying. I will
No,
put
no,
it in
no,
the
no,
back
no,
of
no.
the room looking up at us.
Dude,
Just hold the phone up.
just hold the phone up. They're not going to say anything.
Lonzo, are there any particular products that you would like us to look for a pitch for? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I have a history of it not going well for me in front of people, so like that. So I'm down with that. So and if I do that, I'm going full on bro as far as what I'm wearing.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo and you, 844-GSP, ESPN 844-477-3776 is the number to be a part of the program. Real quick story I wanted to get in here today, and we got to do a short segment to get back on the clock here, but I thought this was kind of cool. Javelin thrower Maria Andrzejczyk. She is from Poland, and she won the silver medal in the Olympics this year for the women's javelin throw. On Wednesday, Andrzejczyk posted on her Facebook page that she came across the fundraiser for 8-month-old Milashek Malicia, who has a serious heart defect and needs surgery. But it's not just about surgery. She actually would need to be able to travel to the Stanford University Medical Center from Poland in order to get the surgery that she would need in order to save her life. Well, Maria Andrzejczyk decided that since she had this silver medal sitting in her office after winning at the Olympics, and since she knows that there are folks out there that love to collect sports memorabilia, that auctioning off her silver medal would be the way to go. So Maria Andrzejczyk put her silver medal up for auction and got back $125,000, which she then gave to the family of 8-month-old Milashek Malaysia so that she could be flown to Stanford in order to get the surgery she needs to save her life. Then she found out that the winner of the auction was Zabka, which is a Polish supermarket chain. The supermarket bought the medal for $125,000 and then immediately gave the medal right back to Maria Andrzejczyk. Maria Andrzejczyk now has her silver medal, who had a struggle of her own, by the way, missed an Olympic medal at the 2016 Rio Olympics by 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. That's what she missed the medal by. 2 centimeters. Suffered a shoulder injury in 2017, diagnosed with bone cancer in 2018, went through recovery to make a comeback and won her first Olympic medal in Tokyo earlier this month. Put it up for auction to donate 100% of the money to an 8-month-old for her to be able to have life-saving surgery. A Polish supermarket chain purchased the medal and gave it immediately back to her. Lonzo, a circle of good deeds out of Poland that needs to be recognized. There is faith in humanity yet, my friends.
That is beyond awesome that, first of all, that she cared enough to do this and that people donated and then they gave it right back. It's really cool. It's when you think the world is a really bad place, and sometimes it is, you hear stories like this and it makes you proud and happy.
Yeah. Good on her, man. Maria Andrzejczyk, international hero. If we had Zabkas in the United States, I would begin shopping at them today. Good for them all. Good for them all. Round of good deeds for all of them. That's awesome. Speaking of good, we found out that Dawn Staley, after winning gold in Tokyo, would be stepping down from her position as the head coach of Team USA Women's Basketball. But then she did a press conference yesterday. And maybe, just maybe, we get another year, another 4 under Coach Staley. I'll tell you what she said in her press conference when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
Apparently, Christian Cage has retired the TNA title. So now I guess there's only one belt, the Impact belt.
So they unified the two?
Christian Cage walked into Impact Wrestling's television tapings tonight, and he cut a promo about winning the titles from Omega. Then his speech shifted to talk about retiring the TNA title. Dave Penzer then took that belt from Cage, and the belt is now defunct. What does that mean? Does that mean
they just went down to one belt?
Or does was he stripped? I don't think he was.
No,
stripped.
I think it just means that there's I think that
well, remember, I was asking
just,
you,
yeah,
why are there 2 belts?
It's just a unified title.
I also saw that Gage Goldberg is now working for WWE part-time.
Really?
Yes. I was always curious about that when kids appeared on something. He's 15, so which means he could work part-time. Yeah. So I didn't see how much he's getting paid, but still. I don't know if you watched Monday, but he brought a bunch of his buddies with him, and they were all sitting in the front. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool.
Whether you care for the storyline or not, your dad's this guy, and you're in the front row, and all your boys get to see you. Not only that, but you get to jump the barricade and walk back with your dad. That would be awesome. See, now you've got me wondering if we indeed will be doing that thing in person. I may have to break out the purple and the tie and everything. I'm going to say I'm just here so I won't get fined, I should probably look good while I'm doing it, making my $5.
Should when we do that meeting, I'm 100% sitting with the trophy on the lap the whole time. The whole time. The whole time. And if it is virtual, I will have 2 cameras, one on me and one on the trophy in my lap the whole time.
Speaking of which, a certain trophy is still in the studio over there. There will be a WRD. There will be a dedicated camera Saturday.
Should be.
Just
Should
on
be.
the trophy.
Absolutely should be.
And every once in a while, you'll just see a hand with like a cloth, just wiping
Just
it down.
touch it,
Yeah. Keeping the smudges off of it.
Somebody said when I went to Hall of Fame that I missed one huge opportunity, and they were absolutely spot on correct. That I missed one huge opportunity, which was to have every time that I interacted with the trophy to pull out white gloves, put them on to handle the trophy, put the trophy back down and take them back off, and just make a big display out of doing that. And I'm stunned at myself that I missed giving it the full Stanley Cup treatment. That was a mistake. That was a mistake.
Should have also hired an intern to just stand there and every once in a while, every time someone handles it, walk over and wipe it off
shit,
and put it back.
The COVID-19 vaccines are starting to become available across the country. Now is the time to get informed. Get the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. A message brought to you by the Ad Council and the CDC.
This feature is sponsored by Navage. Worried about what you're breathing in? With each breath, allergens, germs, and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage. Available at navage.com.
So there's a shot that you and I tomorrow night might actually get you go head to head with some miniature golf.
Yes, not a shot. We do. And also you were gonna
We'll see if it indeed is open.
I don't know. Do what?
If that part is open, it should
From
be.
what I talked to the sales team yesterday, that's the only part that's open. Like we're literally just going to play goofy golf. That's it.
We are not going.
The pool's not open. It's literally just the mini golf. That's what I got. I don't know for a fact, but that's what one salesperson said yesterday.
That would be disappointing, and that's not what happened. That's not what has happened on other times we've
I
done
don't
this.
mean to panic you, but we have gotten a text that says there's dead air on WRD.
Thanks to him, we got our sex life and our marriage back.
Well,
To start your free online visit,
I can't exactly leave the room right now,
Fair.
but I will send an email. If there is dead air, there's also an alarm that will go off.
Okay. So somebody will know.
Yes. We have alarms on all our stations. I think it's like 20 seconds of dead air. I can't remember exactly what it is.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown Show here on ESPN Upstate. The Washington football team has announced that they have narrowed their search for a new name down to their final 3 choices, according to a source with knowledge of the situation. Washington earlier this week released a video in which team president Jason Wright is seen going over new names. The new names are bleeped out in the video with Coach Ron Rivera and GM Martin Mayhew. In the video, Wright says, so the 3 names that we'll go through are beep, beep, and beep. A source with knowledge of the situation said that the team has indeed narrowed the list down to 3. The team received more than 40,000 submissions from fans during the rebranding process. Washington announced last summer it would retire their previous moniker after 82 years following a renewed push and go with a new team. The video series that the team has been putting out called Making the Brand has shown a clip where the 3 names are presented to a number of fans along with logos while at FedEx Field. Among the names included are the Red Wolves, the Commanders, the Presidents, the Defenders, the Brigade, the Red Hogs, the Armada, and the Washington football team. The names do not necessarily reflect the final options, given there are obviously more than 3, and they are down to 3 at that point. But I got to tell you, Alonzo, I know some people are against it. They don't love it, and I get it. I understand it. But my man, of those proposed names, of which it is likely, though not definite. The 3 are coming off of the list. Red Wolves, Commanders, Presidents, Defenders, Brigade, Red Hogs, Armada, and the Washington football team. I gotta tell you, dude, just stick with WFT. Just keep the most unique name in the National Football League.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they do. But my money's on Red Wolves.
I see, of those 3, I think they would go Red Hogs. I know it's kind of dumb, but if you're trying, because remember, part of what they're trying to do here is they are trying to play nice with the old school fans that are genuinely upset with the name change, right? There are legacy fans that my dad and his dad and his dad have been fans over the past 82 years, and we are offended you changed the name. We're insulted. We're never coming back, and they're going to want to try to do something that pays some level of homage to previous fans. I got to wonder if maybe, because remember, the Washington football team previous iterations were famous for having the big fat guys that wore no shirts and or sometimes dresses with pig's noses and whatnot on it. All that being said, they're not great names. I would just go with the Washington football team. Seriously.
That's what they're going to do. That's absolutely what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, we couldn't come up with, we couldn't agree on a name except for this one, so we're just going to stick with this. I say Red Wolves wins, though.
If a name comes off of that, I think you're right. If a name comes off of it, I think you're right.
Because Red Hawk, I get what you're saying about the nostalgia and all that stuff, but I think Red Wolves probably works better. And also, just the logos and everything I've seen for Red Wolves look pretty cool.
You come up with better. I think Red Wolves, I actually don't hate Armada. It's just that Armada is a naval term, and it's like
makes
Washington,
me think,
D.C., not exactly.
Makes me think of Vanderbilt. But if that's what you want.
Yeah, I think Armada would work if you were known as like a port or a coastal town, right? Like the Tampa Bay Armada works. Not Washington, D.C. The Presidents, like I get what you're going with the Presidents. Don't love it, right? Don't love it. Commanders, it's kind of a lot of these names, you know what these sound like? They sound like XFL team names. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to be different, but not too different. Just stick with Washington football team. All right, when we come back, there was a huge bit of news that got dumped in the Deshaun Watson case on the same day that Deshaun Watson did not show up for Texans practice again. We'll tell you what that was, and I'll tell you why it's not great for number 4 when we come back on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Down.
I sent you another T-shirt, by the way. Cameron Grimes tweeted it out.
Twitter?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Damn, DiBiase. That's not bad. My dude has grown on me. Like full circle.
I think probably it's someone who believes you should always have a crew cut.
Crew cuts are coming back around, Lonzo. They're the next big thing. By the way, can I just tell you guys, I have seen a a non-anomaly number of mullets in the upstate? Is that like the official haircut of choice? I have seen a ridiculous number of mullets running around Lonzo. Is it mullet season here in the upstate? I had no idea. It wasn't in the handbook. Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg, the Bob Brown Show, weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
So I left here yesterday and went to Tornado Hotbed Central, right in the middle of all of it, to the point where the one that they did spot that there's pictures out there went right across, probably like 5 minutes from where I live.
So there was a touchdown?
Well, they showed it going across 385.
I saw that. Okay. And that was up by you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The alert that we got on our phones, I got that right around that area.
Okay.
And then I drove past it, and apparently right after that's when it went. Yeah.
Texter says those nicknames sound like the generic logos you can pick in create a team mode. They ain't wrong. They really do. That was my first thought too. They sound like when you create a franchise in Madden, you get those list of names. Another texter says perfect name for the Redskins is the DC Swamp. I could, you know what? I could get behind Swamp Monsters. I could get behind Swamp Monsters.
I think they should be Swamp Rats.
Swamp Rats is good. It's not bad. And for the record, any and all of them are better than the ones that they have proposed. But then again, for the record, we do not know for a fact that the three they finalized are on that list that we read. They put those into a video called Making the Brand that they put out on their social media brand. And it's basically, it's kind of like the new name is the movie, and that's the trailer for it. You don't put the big grand reveal in the trailer, right? You tease so that people think they know what the big grand reveal is going to be, but you don't put it in the trailer. And I got to think that's what happened here. All right. We got this yesterday from ESPN, and I kind of find it a little bit interesting. It was reported yesterday that both attorneys of the Deshaun Watson side, or the Deshaun Watson scenario, have started making comments to the media again. Watson's lawyer, Rusty Hardin, so this comes from the defense lawyer, says that the sexual assault and inappropriate behavior allegations against Deshaun Watson are being investigated by the FBI now. Hardin said that Watson spoke to the FBI about allegations of extortion regarding one of the 23 civil lawsuits filed against the quarterback, of which 22 are still active. Hardin said in a news conference, quote, in April, the FBI came to us and they told us they were investigating a matter as to whether one of Mr. Tony Busby's clients had committed extortion in the way they were demanding money from Deshaun, or what they would do if he didn't pay it, end quote. Last Friday, Busby, who represents the women suing Watson, told the League of Justice, meanwhile, in the League of Justice website, that the FBI met with him to discuss Watson and spoke with several plaintiffs. Hardin said, quote, I don't think they're investigating Deshaun. What they're investigating is the allegations Busby has made in his lawsuits. I didn't know about that until yesterday, and then I checked it out, and it's true. They are, end quote. Last month, Hardin told ESPN's John Barr that 10 women have filed complaints about Watson with the Houston Police Department. 8 of the women, according to Hardin, are among the 22 plaintiffs who have filed lawsuits against Watson. Hardin says Watson has not spoken to the NFL as part of its investigation into the lawsuits. Harden said, quote, the NFL regularly tries to not reach out to the defendant and his lawyers and seek evidence from them until the criminal investigation is over. Historically, they want to make sure they don't interfere with the criminal investigation. I have had no contact with the NFL except to call initially and say, whenever the time is appropriate, we will fully cooperate. The League of Justice website, a chunk of which, by the way, is being run by the way, it is it's so hard to go to the League of Justice website, Lonzo. Can you guess why? It's because every time that I put in League of Justice, I end up getting, here's Henry Cavill without his shirt on. Here's Gal Gadot kicking a dude in the face. And for the record, y'all should stop, DC fans, because it died. It's dead. The Justice League movie wasn't good. By the way, I did watch it.
You're wrong, and it's not dead. There are rumors out there saying that the two is getting together to the point where they're asking Ray Fisher, the guy who played Cyborg, if he will play it again, and he says if he gets an apology from DC. So, I mean, and behind rumors, sometimes there's truth. Sorry. Nerded out. No, I'm not sorry. I just being.
Not sorry. Anyway.
Why would you name League of Justice is so, I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's
have you never seen a cartoon
for the record, one of the people in charge of this is Amy Dash, who I really like. I like Amy Dash. She's a sports legal analysis or legal sports and law analyst.
Yeah, Mark has had her on his show a bunch of times.
And she's good. She's very good.
She is.
I like her a lot. Amy Dash is very good.
Maybe she did it on purpose.
She was like, I'll show Lonzo.
No, maybe she's secretly a nerd.
Maybe. Or not so secretly. Who knows? Here's what I do know. What I do know is that she was kind of the one that really broke this on Twitter yesterday. In an exclusive interview with League of Justice founder and CBS, and this is from the League of Justice website, by the way, which is leagueofjustice.com.
You're going to say it as many times as you can, aren't you?
Meanwhile, in the League of Justice. Meanwhile, it's sad to me that I do meanwhile in my real life, and a lot of people don't know where it's coming from. Like, did you grow up did you even 90s cartoons, bro? Did you? In an exclusive interview with League of Justice founder and CBS Sports Radio and Fox Sports Radio's Amy Dash, Tony Busby claimed that the FBI is investigating Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. So you got one attorney, you got Watson's attorney. Watson's attorney is saying that they are investigating claims of extortion. Now you've got the women's attorney saying that they are investigating Deshaun Watson. And we find ourselves right back in the same spot that we've been in for a hot minute, which is to say, we don't know which is true. All right? We don't know which is true. Rusty Harden says they are investigating extortion claims, and Tony Busby says that they are investigating Deshaun Watson himself. The Houston-based attorney who represents nearly 24 women accusing Watson of various forms of sexual harassment and assault said FBI agents from the Houston Field Division visited him in his office, and he has since met with them multiple times. Speaking to Dash by phone on Friday, Busby claimed the last meeting was as recent as a week ago. According to Dash, Busby said, quote, "Let's be clear, when somebody comes into your office on the 73rd floor of the Chase Tower, whether they're the FDA or the FBI, it's a big deal." Well, it was the FBI. They contacted me, and I've met with them 3 times now, and now they've met with several of the plaintiffs in the case, end quote. Busby claimed that the agents told them they have seen all the statements that have been given to police department and found them, quote, "very compelling and very persuasive," end quote. Busby went on to say, quote, "These guys came to my office and I'm like, hey, boys, and why do you care about this?" Busby said that the FBI agent replied by saying, quote, "Look, what I've heard is that most of the reach outs occurred via the internet, which creates jurisdiction for us. But then I understand there were these 2 women that were from out of state, which obviously creates more jurisdiction as well." End quote. Busby said that at least one woman who filed a lawsuit against Watson claims he flew her in from Georgia to give a massage before he allegedly tried to make it into something more. Watson denies that allegation. Busby said that the agents were, quote, very professional, end quote, said they put him in touch with their boss, the assistant United States attorney, and claims that he has had, quote, a couple of conversations with her, and that quote, and I told her, I was like, this is what we know, this is what we have, and she was like, well, I just want you to know that we are not gonna waste your time, end quote. So, we have, again, the attorney for Watson says the FBI is involved. They are investigating whether or not there was extortion. These women were trying to get money out of Deshaun with these claims. Up to and including threats against Deshaun to what they would do if Deshaun did not pay up. Then you got Rusty Hardin on the other side, the attorney who represents the women, who is telling Amy Dash and the folks that are doing these interviews that the FBI agents are actually investigating the claims. Hardin says that because the contact was made and the solicitation was made online, that the FBI has jurisdiction, whereas if Deshaun would have been soliciting women, within Houston, it would not have been under their jurisdiction. And the fact that he had at least one of them, maybe two of them, travel across state lines to get there gives them even more jurisdiction over the case. I will say, as I have said in the past, Zoe, I don't believe anyone. All right? I don't believe anyone. Both of these attorneys could be telling the truth, right? The FBI could absolutely be investigating both parts. One of them could be telling the truth and the other lying. They could both be lying about what the FBI has told them. The only thing that I actually believe now is that the FBI is involved. That's the only thing I believe. I don't believe that they are there to defend, support, investigate any particular party. That's all I know. I do know, Lonzo, that from what I have read and researched in the past 12 hours since this story really gained some momentum, is that if the FBI is involved, it's likely bad news for Deshaun.
I don't remember. When did this all first come to light? How long has this been? My biggest question is, why is it taking so long? With this many allegations and all this stuff going on, why is it taking it so long for something to happen? A trial, something.
Well, if it is indeed a
and
criminal
I know COVID put a lot of things on hold, and maybe that has a lot to do with it. We'll see if this thing speeds up now.
Yes, COVID likely had something to do with it, but I don't put it all at the feet of COVID, right? I think a chunk of it is the fact that if you are indeed conducting a criminal investigation, right? If you're conducting a criminal investigation, it's going to take time. Regardless of what the investigation's about, it's going to take time. And I suspect that is likely where we are. If it is a criminal investigation. And don't forget that criminal investigation doesn't only mean they're investigating Deshaun Watson for breaking the law. If some of these women have indeed been trying to extort him, blackmail him, there is a chance that one or more of these women have broken the law, in which case it will be a criminal investigation. But the fact that the women got law enforcement involved, whether it's the HPD, the Houston Police Department, or the FBI, both of those are authorities. They are both authority figures now that will be involved with a criminal element of the investigation, which pushes everything back on the timescale. But regardless, it's bad news for Deshaun for a couple of reasons. Number one, it heightens the likelihood that Deshaun will not get what he wants, which is traded out of Houston. We know that Miami has been interested, Carolina's been interested, Denver's been interested, and I think there was one other team, Philly. I think Philly initially was interested, though I never believed that. I think they're happy with Jalen Hurts. But there was rumors that there were 4 NFL teams, Carolina being one, that was still interested in the possibility of trading for and acquiring Deshaun Watson. If he is indeed under a criminal investigation by the FBI, I think the chances that he gets traded for diminishes greatly. I also think the chances that he plays in the NFL this season diminish greatly. And if that happens, the chances that he has a career moving forward diminish greatly. I think this is bad news for Deshaun, unless the criminal investigation is into the women and he gets marked off the hook in the next 6 to 12 months.
Well, the NFL is also supposedly investigating. So what is the NFL going to do? I mean, because the season, we're in preseason. The season's going to be starting in a couple weeks.
They don't care.
What I'm saying is, what do you do with Deshaun Watson? Does Houston have to continue paying him? Do you dress him for games even though you're not going to play him? Because and I don't blame them, all the TV cameras are going to be pointed at him every chance they get during a game as Houston's being beat by every team that plays them. It's squarely going to be on Deshaun the entire time. Do you want that distraction on your sideline? So
no, I don't.
So do you send him home and still pay him while he's at home? I think that's the only solution that you can have to keep the attention off of that part of what's going on with your team.
I don't think you're incorrect for a second. And I frankly, I don't know how you handle this, right? If I'm Houston, he doesn't step foot in that facility again, knowing the FBI is involved. Doesn't step foot in. I don't care. I know they've been trying to keep him working out and in shape in order so that they could trade him, but he's not coming back in the facility at all. Texter says, the reason it's taking so long to Deshaun Watson is because the attorneys for the women do not want a trial. They want to get paid in a settlement, and the attorney is threatening the police action as leverage only. Lawyers really stink. There is a possibility of that. And it's absolutely possible that Tony Busby is laying down a bluff, laying down a gauntlet. But remember, Busby has said multiple times he's not afraid to go to trial. And that's not a bluff you lay down unless you're willing to get it called, because there's a good chance that Rusty Hardin will call that bluff. If it gets to the point that it's obvious Deshaun cannot play football this year because of how long it's taken, then Rusty Hardin will call that bluff and they'll go to trial. If they can get it, and this is the other part of it, if they can get it into a criminal court, right? I don't think they want to go to a civil court. Civil court's a little different. I think if they're going to go to trial, if Tony Busby has evidence, which he claims he has, which is what the FBI will be looking for, then they would want to go to a criminal court instead of a civil court. Might be easier to win in a civil court, but Deshaun, it might be easier for Deshaun to get away from a civil court without paying anything or paying less, right? Whereas if they go to criminal court, Deshaun gets punished, which at least Busby has at least said once or twice. They are seeking for Deshaun to get punishment as much as anything else. And the NFL will not step in until the criminal investigation is over. That's what Amy Dash says.
Well, here's the thing, though. So if it just goes to civil court, will the NFL still suspend him? I think they will.
Oh, sure.
Because it's still going against the policy. And so either way, he's not playing.
Let's do this. We're going to come back to this. Chris Lewis, president of your Greenville Triumph, is going to join us in the next segment of the show. It has not been smooth sailing for the Triumph lately. We'll get some thoughts and responses on what needs to change from Chris, talk a little bit about this weekend's match and more when we return on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
So I looked at that email of the thing we were talking about before. You're right. It doesn't mention anything about the other part of it. It only mentions that. And that would be disappointing. Still have fun, but it'd be disappointing. Especially since I already told, a couple people what we were doing, and now it's going to, but they're down for the miniature golf too. So, I mean, I'm also concerned for you because I'm guessing there will be jump scares
everywhere.
Yes.
I know it's coming, but the problem
even just doing that.
The problem is the lady friend has challenged me to go now. I don't have a choice anymore. It has been taken out of my hands. So what I am going to rely on, Zoe, because I don't know, I'm not saying you haven't. I don't know that you have met competitive Courtney yet, but Courtney gets competitive as me when we're doing stuff like miniature golf or whatever. She gets as competitive as me. So
I expect everyone to be competitive.
Like, you know how we have that unhealthy?
Yeah.
She's in us. She's in our league, right? She's in our league. So she has challenged me to it now, which means we are going to see, I have to drive to compete against you, against the hosts for the show for men, if they are there. But I also have to compete against her because she is the opposite of a, if you let me win, I'm cool with it chick. Like if I let her win, she gets mad at me for letting her win. So I have to compete against her as well as everybody else. I am bringing my putter, like my professional putter. I'm not coming second place.
Unfair advantage.
Am I trying to win, Lonzo, or am I trying?
Yeah, I hope they disallow it. It's unfair advantage. What do you guys think? Bring your own putter to putt? Should that be allowed? I mean, that's just it's unfair. I get there's comfort involved and all that kind of stuff, but why not go in like everybody else? Hey, Chris is Lonzo, ESPN Upstate. How are you today? That's good to know. I completely get it with Rob. Talking to me, not that big of a deal, but talking to Rob is a pleasure every single day. And he's not even in the room while I'm saying that. Hopefully he'll be back in the next minute. Yeah, I've won several of those, but all right. So 9 or 10, but who's counting? All right, we've got less than a minute. Hang on. Chris pointed out that I'm an award winner too, and then I had to point out to him that if by 2 you mean 9 or 10 of them, then yeah, you're probably right. But who's counting? I've got to say I'm a little disappointed because you are not starting several segments out. I found that talking.
Well, that's not small talk. That's championship talk.
Speaking of which, that's what I was about to say. You haven't really mentioned that very much. Yeah,
I really haven't. I'm trying to stay humble.
Why? I'm going to chastise you for that, man. You need to be shouting.
That I have yet to mention today that we are the 2021 Star Award winners for Best Sports Talk Show in the state of South Carolina. And I told him that I'm just trying to stay true to my incredibly humble self. And Lonzo said I deserve to be chastised for that.
It was close.
As we go to welcome in a friend of mine, both on the air and off of it. He is the president of your Greenville Triumph. He is Mr. Chris Lewis joining the Rob Brown Show to talk a little footy. Chris, my man, how we feeling, big guy?
I'm good, my friend. I am good. I want you to know when Lonzo gave me a call and we were chatting, I did refer to you guys as award winners, and I referred to you specifically as award winners when I put out my tweet to the Twitterverse, letting them know that we were going to be chatting.
I have to tell you, Chris, and I mean this sincerely. On Saturday after we won the trophy, the lady friend and I headed back to the. We went out, did a little celebrating, and got back to the bar. Or excuse me, got back to the hotel. And as
I think you probably said it right.
From the bar to the, you know what I
did.
meant. We went from the bar back to the hotel. And when I got to the hotel, I popped open Twitter and scrolling through, and she saw that I had a tweet from the Greenville Triumph, congratulating me on the award. And she looked at me and she said, "That's pretty cool that a professional soccer club sent that tweet." And I have to tell you, Chris, it was, but I mean this. One of the reasons I think that Zoe and I were able to do this was because we try to stay connected with our local clubs and be involved with our local clubs. And so I'm going to go ahead and say that you guys get a chunk of the trophy as well, man.
Hey, we'll take it. You know, hardware is hardware, man. But in all honesty, you know, we kid around and everything, but it's truly deserved. You guys do a great job, and you have been, you know, connected to the teams here more so than I've seen in any stop I've been. Major league, minor league, hockey, soccer, you know, football, whatever it may be. So, you know, kudos to you guys, and truly congratulations, my friend.
No, thank you guys. Appreciate it very, very much. Let's talk football, Chris. Let's talk Greenville Triumph. And, you know, look, there are times where even, tough times come down even on champs. And I kind of feel like the Triumph are in that spot ever since that 5-match and 13-day stretch a couple of months ago. It's just felt like the Triumph have had a hard time finding the footing that we are used to them having. Where you guys, as far as rebounding from that stretch, and B, as president, how are you looking at the team right now?
Well, it's like you said, we're grinding. I mean, that's the best way to put it, I think, right now. I posted after the game Sunday night that's exactly what it was. The grind that we're in is unlike anything that our fans and followers and supporters have ever seen. It's something different for us. It's something different for the players who have been here since 2019. It's just a bit different. Now, that said, it's pro sports. John has said from the inaugural year of this league, when we were sitting down then, he said, "Chris, this league is going to get better and it's going to get harder every year." And it's true. And it's just like anything else, now, while last season was a bit different, it was still a season. There were still matches. There's still video, just like in, the NFL or college football. Coaches now are getting savvy, and they sit down and they're going to look at the video. And, we're blessed with, what I would say one of the greatest technical minds, in the game, running the technical side of our team. And that said, we had a lot of success that showed that. But now too, people can sit and break things down, and you find a way. Like, there are coaches and players in this league that are really smart. So that, coupled with a number of other things, injuries and just guys being off their game. Again, they're human like anybody else. Sometimes it just happens. Now, looking at the standings, I can't remember ever seeing a run of form like is shown on the USL One website right now for us. But again, it's sports, and we'll figure it out.
4th of July, the last outright win for the Triumph, draw, loss, loss, including a couple of heartbreakers against Tormenta and Fort Lauderdale on the road. After the game against Tormenta, where you had a 1-1 game and it looked like it was going to go level and come down to the last few minutes, and then Tormenta just kind of broke it open with a pair of goals within a 3-minute span. I saw after the game a huddle on the field between the players and the coaching staff. And from a former athlete, certainly not anywhere near the level of where you guys are, but I know what we in the South anyway call, Chris, we call it a come to Jesus meeting, right? And it looked like there was a bit of a come to Jesus meeting taking place between Coach Harks and the players and the coaching staff, et cetera. And a lot of us up in the riot, we were still up there in Section 110 watching this and saying, I hope we can mark this down as a moment. But that Sunday L on the road at Fort Lauderdale was a tough one. It was a tough one to stomach. So what is being said by the coaching staff? What is being said by the administration? Because I don't think you guys, at least as far as I've known you and Doug and Joe and Harksey and talked with you guys, I don't think we're going to accept, or you guys are going to accept, the league's getting better to just kind of write off where the team is right now. So what is being said amongst you guys to try to get back onto the foot that we are used to seeing the Triumph stand on?
Sure. No, and the league's getting better isn't an excuse. It's a fact. And, the fact that we've had 15 field players out with injuries, it's not an excuse. It's a fact. But that said, it's part of what we need to deal with. And yeah, that meeting, there were two meetings, actually. There was the meeting, right after the whistle blew with the players and John, and everybody that was in there. I was in that. And there was colorful. But it was also, the message was not to feel sorry for yourself. And you pick yourself up, you learn the lessons. The Tormenta games are tough. They're a good team, and they're, we play around with them too. We call them our frenemies. And, their owner president is one of my best friends in this league, as he is Joe's. So it's hard when you lose those, because you want to win those as much as anything else because of the relationship. Then after that meeting with the players, there was a gathering of John, myself, and the assistant coaches. And we talked a little bit more about what we do. Rob, at the end of the day, the first half of the Fort Lauderdale game was probably the best half that I've seen us play this season. And we're super pumped up about going into the second half and let's finish this off. And it didn't finish out that way. And it seems that what's been happening is there are just mental lapses at some point in all of these games. And, like Lonzo asked how I was doing pretty good until you brought up the whole thing about July 4th, being the last three. So thanks, pal. Appreciate you.
I'll buy you a beer later.
But it's about, why are those mental lapses happening? We're having good weeks in training, why is it happening? And, John goes back and they're having individual meetings. We're breaking down video with the guys. I met with our guys last week. John and I are meeting. We talked for about 45 minutes last night. We're meeting again today to go over this. Because the fact of the matter is that you're right. It's not good enough. It's not good enough for the standards we have. It's not good enough for the standards our ownership has. It's not good enough for the standards our players have. And they know it. They feel it. It's not like they're not gutted every time, we lose a match. So the work is just, again, it sounds cliche and it sounds like, Chris is just giving the company line, but it's true. We go back out to the training pitch. We work on the things that seem to be the breakdown and the points that we're losing that good form and build that back up. We have some guys that are tired. We have some guys that are mentally tired. But that's all part of being a pro athlete. You have to figure out how to work through that. And we have a great leadership group. We have a great group of players on this team. And I don't doubt that, being led by John and his coaching staff, that they're going to pull through and they're going to pull those younger guys up and we're going to get this right. And it has to start Sunday night.
Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate, talking a little bit about a recent run of bad luck by the Triumph. Get an opportunity to try to turn it around coming up this Sunday when the Triumph are back home against the Richmond Kickers. That was going to be a 7 p.m. kick on Sunday, August 22nd. I was talking the other day with the with a couple of guys in the riot, And the discussion we were having is that through last season, and you know, seeing it in person really impressed me, was that this team was very good across the back line of defense. I mean, a very good defensive team, a team that if they gave up 2 goals in a game, that was the topic of conversation, even in a win. And look, we know that you're going to get everybody's best shot. As you mentioned, Harksey has said that teams are going to get better. The league's going to get better. But we have seen 3-goal games and 2-goal games. Is there any sort of drive to get back to Triumph football being a team that focuses on defense? I mean, I know, I asked last week, Aaron Walker, if Marios Lomas scoring so many goals in the beginning of the season maybe shifted up the mentality of the team to, hey, we're a team that's going to throw numbers forward and score a lot of goals. What can you tell us about the philosophy that you guys are taking onto the pitch? Is it a try to return to what we do, or has there been a shift that maybe we can pin some of this strife onto?
See, that's why you're an award winner. Because you just talked about what one of the main themes was of the team meeting that we had last Wednesday, and then the theme of the conversation that I had with our leadership group last Thursday. And it's exactly that, Rob. We need to return to our identity, and our identity is that of a team that has a strong defensive line, has a strong defensive team. We have the best keeper in the league. We build from the net out. We have a great back four. But here's the thing, is that not everybody's perfect. And where we're seeing the issue is that we're not consistent with our execution. And, I talked about the mental lapses. We're having mental lapses. We're having some players that you don't ever see it from. It's happening to those guys. And it could be for any number of reasons. Some of these guys that have played every minute of every game and logged tons of minutes, again, it's not an excuse. It's just, it's a fact. It is what it is. I mean, they've had to pick up the load. When you're missing a Noah Pilato and you're missing a Lachlan McLean and you're missing Evan Lee and a Don Smart and an Abdi Muhammad and some of the other guys that have been out, it takes a toll on some of these other guys. And they're doing everything that they can to get back to that high level of execution. But what you said, Rob, is exactly the message that's been passed to the team. It's exactly what I said. Dallas J was sitting right to my left. Typo was sitting right on my right. Fricky was there. Aaron was there. And I said, guys, we just need to go back to our thing. We need to go back to doing our thing. And our thing is clean sheets. Our first and foremost objective is to keep the 0 on the scoreboard for the opponent, and we build from there. And, Sunday night in the first half, we were possessing the ball. We were clinical. We were doing things well. We were executing well. And then the second half, the mental lapse happened. And we made mistakes. They pressed it to Fort Lauderdale. To their credit, they played hard. They wanted it. They were fast, and they made us pay when we made those mistakes. And that's what's happening now, is when we make those mistakes and we have those mental lapses, we're paying for it. We need to correct those, because if we correct those, then we can move on to building and scoring at the other end, and turning these boxes that are on the USL League One standings back into green boxes.
Yeah, I know, Chris, that this is a Harks question more than you. I mean, I think we've got a pretty good grasp, and I agree with everything you've said, a pretty good grasp on the things that need to be done. But I think the question that has to be asked now is, how do we do it, right? Like, what is the philosophy that Harks takes onto the field to get these guys to be able to respond, to not look back at what's happened and panic, but to take the pressure and take those moments where there have been mental lapses. And I don't think it's unfair to call that. I think we've seen it from Section 110, but respond to those and get that confidence back. I know for athletes at every level, once you lose confidence, it can be hard to get it back. What can be done here? What is the approach of the side to get that confidence back, to going back to being the Greenville Triumph that are used to being on top of the USL League One table?
I think it's just continuing to reinforce those basics in training, and to get the guys back into habits, making our building out from the back, making our transitions through the different thirds of the field, again, habitual and more deliberate. It's John continuing to reinforce the strategy, the work, the research that he and his coaching staff put into breaking down the opponents in each game and finding where are the areas that we can capitalize on them. And again, we go through all of that kind of stuff. Then we need to execute it. So it's, some of it's repetition, some of it's having these one-on-one meetings. It's using video and showing guys where those breakdowns are and asking them. So again, their brains are engaging and they're thinking about, you know what? Yeah, I stepped here or I didn't step here. This challenge needed to be harder. I needed to play that ball over the top instead of underneath, whatever it may be. It's getting the guys to realize that. And it's hard. Again, they're pro athletes. They've been playing this game for a long time, but when you have, a bit of a run of less than par form, we'll say it gets hard, but there's a lot of work that goes into, John and the coaching staff do with regard to the mental side of the game. It's about, and you can't cookie cutter coach, John doesn't. It's, you need to treat these guys as individuals and manage them as individuals because they all have different kinds of personalities. They learn differently. They absorb and receive things differently. And that's why too, I've taken a bit more of an active role as well. And John and I are trying to do this together in terms of talking to some of these guys and getting the message through. So I really think at its core, Rob, it's just getting back to our basics and getting back to doing what we do well and what we built a reputation on, which is being the best defensive team in the league.
Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph. The Triumph will be back home this Sunday evening, August 22nd at 7 p.m., taking on the Richmond Kickers at Legacy Early. We will be there. And, I will say this, Chris, and I think this is obvious. It is much easier for athletes to find their confidence when there is a full supporter section behind them popping smoke and making noise. So we need everybody to show out this Sunday for their match against the Richmond Kickers. Chris, my man, appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Good to talk to you always, big guy.
No, I appreciate you having me on and having the conversation, Rob. And to our fan base and to the upstate community, we definitely need you out there. We play Chattanooga twice, New England, Madison, Richmond, all of these teams that we are in this battle for playoff positioning. We can avoid them getting points by beating them, and then to help our own cause. And those 7 matches that we have left at home, it is vital that we have that strong support that this community has always given us out there. So we look forward to doing better and to living up to the standards. And we also look forward to hearing Section 110 and everybody else who's coming out rooting the guys on.
Chris, thank you, big dog. Talk to you soon. That is Chris Lewis, president of your Greenville Triumph. Quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Did you see our new streaming nicknames? I feel like I've made them more appropriate.
Why you got to put Gerald on there for?
You put that.
I did not.
I never put that name. That was in there yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, weird." He went by that. So all I play with is a nickname between the quotes. You change it as you want.
It was not me. I would never do that.
I have never put that. I have never put your actual name on anything related to the show.
My actual.
ESPN Upstate. An Odyssey station.
For the ones who know a little late is always too late. And that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Granger offers supplies and solutions for inventory management. In the right.
There, I fixed it.
I had just changed it, and then you changed it again.
I didn't see it. It wasn't changed on my screen.
Yeah, well, because I hadn't hit enter yet. I've got to log back in over here.
Thanks for listening to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This might be our last one together.
When used as directed, Microban 24. Touch after touch, it doesn't give up.
Did you know there's dust floating around your home?
Really?
Yeah. Dust starts on hard surfaces like shelves and ceiling fans. And when you walk by, dust starts to move, compromising the quality.
So the person you're complaining about being on the college thing, I've never really watched them before, but because you don't like them in that way, now I'm interested in watching to see why you don't like them. I'm trying to be vague here
I don't care. I'm
because
calling them out later. in the
because
show. Remember yesterday when you were like, when you don't like something, why do you follow that person? This is a key example of that.
There's probably a good shot. I will watch him and go, yeah, I don't really like him, but I don't care. I know that you and the host for the show for men have commented on him several times. So
He's a fan though, right? I think the host of the show for men is a fan of the person in question.
I don't know.
I wish he never shows up on TV again.
I don't recall, which means maybe it was never really put out there.
I'll put it this way.
I know you don't like his politics. Well, whatever.
Correct. But I don't like when he's a hypocrite because he is constantly screaming, we don't want your lefty politics in our sports. But then he makes an entire show that is nothing but politics in sports and makes a lot of money off of it.
He doesn't do that show anymore, does he?
Yes.
Does he still do that too?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've never watched it or heard it. So
I think he's a grifter. I think his grift is showing up in my sports. The Rob Brown Show back on the radio. It is ESPN Upstate. Thanks to Chris. I got to tell you, I got a lot of respect for Doug Irwin, for Aaron Walker, for Chris Lewis, for the guys in that organization. Because Lonzo, we when we see professional sports teams at the top level go through stretches, we don't think much about the criticism, right? But when we have a professional sports team at our level who's going through a bit of a struggle, and I've told these guys in the past, I said, look, at the end of the day, as a sports analyst, I do have to ask tough questions, even if it's of a team I love, right? And I love the Triumph. I'm at every game. I play the snare drum in the Reedy River Riot drum line at the games. I love this team. I own every uniform they've sold so far. I love this team. But the radio guy has to ask the tough questions. And there are NFL teams and NFL coaches, Lonzo, that have bailed out of interviews with local media stations when the questions start getting tough and they're struggling. The Triumph are exactly the opposite. They lean into it. We know we have questions to answer. We know there are criticisms that we have to respond to. And we know we got to play better football when we get out there. They have yet to shy away from an interview, yet to ask me, hey, can we push it for next week? Can we wait till we get another win? Which I've had professional teams in the past in other markets do. Hey, we'll talk to you after we get another win. These guys have said, not only are they talking to us, but they are sending out their veteran players. They're sending out the president of the team. I mean, they're sending out the top men to answer these questions. And Lonzo, I have an infinite amount of respect for them for knowing the tough questions are coming, knowing the criticism's coming, and sending out the authorities, the ones who feel like they have to answer for them, to do just that. I respect that.
Well, the other thing, he's not on here laughing and joking around. He's not happy with them not winning, and you can tell that they're trying to right the ship and get it where it needs to be. So, yeah, he wants to win. You can tell.
100%. 100%. It would be very easy. And like I said, I've talked to these guys before and said, look, as a radio host with integrity, I've got to tell you, there's going to be tough questions that have to be asked. And every one of them has said, okay, we're ready. And Chris and I have a great relationship. We're friends, I'll admit, for the sake of full disclosure. Chris and I are beer buddies. We'll head down to the brewery downtown and grab a beer together. But he's got a job to do as the president of the Triumph, and I've got a job to do as a purveyor of local sports here on the show. And he could absolutely say, "Hey, Rob, we can grab a beer, but I'm not going to come on the show. It's not that time. We're not ready to answer all that." And that's not the case. In fact, he said 1:20, I'll be ready. And here he was. I respect it. I appreciate it. Quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 2 when we come back. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate. going to get into our fantasy football segment starting tomorrow. It's about that time. About that time for y'all to start doing your fantasy drafts. Most of them are, if not already underway, will be underway in the next day or two.
Will this be helpful for someone like me who's only played it once and didn't know what they were doing?
Are you playing fantasy football this year?
I might if you teach me well enough.
Then yes, it will be incredibly helpful to you, Lonzo. Tomorrow on the show, I am going to give you my advice and thoughts as well as my top 15 list for drafting running backs, a critically important position on the fantasy football roster that frequently people overlook in favor of wide receivers and QBs, which I get, I understand. Those are the big point, guys. But if you can find consistency out there by knowing the teams, knowing the schedules, et cetera, then you might be okay. So coming up tomorrow, we're going to look at running backs, both my top 10 or 15 and the guys that I would not touch with somebody else's fantasy team. That's coming up tomorrow on the show. We get into our fantasy football segments, which we'll have tomorrow and Friday, and then we'll run through some big ones on Monday and Tuesday. Coming up in the next hour of the show, Panthers making roster moves in the last couple of days. We're going to talk about that. Some congrats being handed out to the Gamecocks of South Carolina. I'll tell you what those are. And we'll take a look. Vegas has put out odds as to who the first NFL coach to be fired this year will be. Who's on the list? We'll give you that and more. Coming up in the next hour, The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Drop the beat.
You have a Harley in the first break.
Harley.
Speedway this weekend, a busy weekend. The ARCA Series and the trucks running on Friday, the Xfinity Series on Saturday, and then on Sunday it is the Firekeepers Casino 400. The starting lineup is set, put together by the qualifying metric, as there's no actual on-track qualifying this weekend. Kyle Larson, he is set to start from the pole. He's going to be joined in the front row by Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Matt Benedetto in row 2. Martin Trick Jr. and Kurt Busch in row 3, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick in row 4, and then Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman in row 5. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show?
Yeah, I will tell you the one thing that frustrated me about Tim Tebow. And I'm not saying this is you, I'm speaking this out in the Tebow hood in the Sunshine State of the FLA. Tebow doesn't crack the starting rotation for New York Jets. And the phone call that I got a dozen times and a dozen times more, Lonzo, was they're only keeping Tebow down because they don't like him and his message. Yeah, definitely not because...
What a fortuitous time for this commercial to play. This is the conversation where all the jokes about me started.
I am not saying that if you're anti-Tebow, you're in league with Satan. You may be. You might be.
This is where it started. Thank you. I don't think we have talked about that, Keegan. But we should. We should. I would drive up to watch J.R. Smith play in a college golf tournament. I would absolutely go watch that. Maybe it's just me, but I would absolutely go.
Well, at some point, he's going to end up on the wrong hole, thinking it's going to happen.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate, question mark?
Come on, man. Come on. It's no longer the Rob.
Sorry. Can I start over?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award-winning Rob Brown Show, the best sports talk radio show in the entire damn state of South Carolina, is back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Is that better?
Thank you. Yeah, it's better, but you shouldn't have to be goaded into doing it. Come on. Come on. We celebrated Monday, but it's not just a one-day celebration. Yes, we're already working on the next one.
Oh, 100%.
But we should make sure that people know. There might be people tuning in today that were out of town and didn't realize. And just by taking a few seconds and mentioning that we are number one, now they know that we won the trophy. They probably already knew that we were going up, but now it's confirmed.
I'm not against it. Like I said, I'm just trying to. What's every champion says? What we got to stay humble. We got to humble up. We got to stay humble. You got to recognize that you're going to get everybody's best shot next year. I got to tell you, though, I think there were some people in that room that were mighty upset that this new guy in the weird jacket came up to take that Star Award. Lonzo came up to get it again.
That jacket was rocking, by the way. I mean, it was loud as it should be on that stage, and just made you stand out even more so. And the glasses with that, excellent.
Oh, I know. I didn't know if I was going to win. You know what I did know? I was going to be the second best dressed guy in the room. I knew that.
It's difficult that sitting next to me, but you handled it well.
I'm mad about it. Lonzo showed up GQ'd out, right? All right. Couple of sound bites I wanted to get to. Let's start with clip number 1. Shane Beamer. I gotta tell you, Zoe, over the past 3 weeks, there have been 2 Carolina football guys that have moved the needle for your boy. One of them has moved the needle to from slightly less than optimistic to, okay, I'm on board. And one of them has moved the needle from I'm pretty on board to slightly less than optimistic. I'm going to give you both of them right here. I'm going to start with the guy who moved it from slightly less than optimistic to, okay, I'm on board. And that is one head coach, Shane Beamer. For a handful of reasons. I've told you guys, Lonzo, I dig the hell out of the welcome home slogan. I dig it. I like it. And not only do I dig it and I like it, you know who else digs and like it? It has been picked up. It has been picked up. I saw earlier that ESPN had put out that welcome home might be their college football slogan for this year. It'll either be welcome home or back home. But either way, what you think about that? Shane Beamer came up with this slogan. He's been pimping it out on social media every time he gets a recruit, every time something big's happen. He throws up the Spurs up hand signal with the hashtag welcome home. It's on a banner that's like 4 stories tall hanging off the side of Williams-Brice Stadium. When I went there on Sunday with the lady friend who is a Gamecocks fan, and we stood outside the stadium, dude, there were 30 cars deep stopped at the stadium on a Sunday mid-morning that were lined up to take pictures in front of that banner. It was cool, and they're excited. Then, Shano heard the reports after Luke Doty got diagnosed with the foot injury. Initially thought it was going to be a broken foot. Looks like it's a sprained ankle. He will be able to come back at some point, though he's going to miss week 1. Shano heard some reports out of the media from folks that were saying, without Luke Doty, the Gamecocks are screwed with a capital SC. And then BMO got in front of the mic, and he sounded like this.
The team is in great spirits. I know there was a lot of doom and gloom. I saw and heard a lot about how the hopes of our season hinged on the results of an MRI. And frankly, that's bullcrap. We've got a hell of a football team. And whether one guy's in or out, we got 117 other guys that are ready to step up no matter who's out. We got Kevin Harris out right now. We haven't it's not doom and gloom right now. It's a great opportunity for everybody else. Cam Smith is out right now. He's working hard to get back and to overcome that. And we got a great group of guys that, frankly, I'm glad they don't listen to the outside narrative, because the outside narrative, from what I was told today, was all doom and gloom and the season's over and, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? What we would have done if we had gotten bad news on Luke is we would have come right out here and had a hell of a scrimmage this afternoon and gotten ready for Eastern Illinois, which is exactly what we did. Luke feels the same way. The entire team is excited about what we have going on. The entire team is excited about where we are as a program right now and what we're doing in preseason camp. And the entire team is excited and cannot wait for practice this week and then September 4th in Williams-Brice Stadium.
Onzo, it's a dude I'll play for. That's a dude I'll play for. In fact, at one point, I'm watching the video because that was on a Zoom call. When he's talking about this, he's leaned up into the camera. And when he says, we got a hell of a football team, he hits that little head bob that you know somebody's emotionally invested in what they're saying. When they lean up into you and they give you that little head shake, we got a hell of a football team.
When he was there before, who did he coach under?
A guy who knew what he was doing?
And a guy who knew how to handle the media and come at the media. And he's on the edge of doing that. I mean, he did just call the media out, but he did it in a nice way, not like what Spurrier would do.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, Spurrier was a master at calling out the media, but still getting the media to want to come back out some more, right? Because it's one thing it's one thing to be antagonistic to the media. It's another thing to be so good at it that the media has to still cover you because the fans demand that you go get roasted by the coach. I don't think Beamer roasted anybody. In fact, I don't even know if Beamer was talking to the media. He said, I heard the naysayers.
I disagree. I think he was sending a message saying, hey, I know who's saying it.
Sure.
And we're going to be nice this time, but eventually we won't be nice. We'll see.
Either way, whether he was going after the media, whoever, whatever.
Not good as far as not nice to Gamecock coaches.
I mean, I get it, right? They expect greatness. They expect greatness, and let's be honest, they haven't gotten it. Luke Doty going down raised the red flag for a lot of people. What are we going to do? We don't have depth. And
I got to say, I thought he was done. From all the media reports that I saw, it's like, man, it's over.
Yeah, when the initial reports came out of a broken foot, it sounded like he was out for a chunk of the season, if not the majority, if not all of it.
I thought he was done for the season.
Then Shano came back and started firing back and said, y'all got to quit. Y'all got to quit with the negativity, man. Quit with the negativity. I love this guy. Now, by the way, after hearing that, after those last couple of segments, I got to tell you, man, Shano's moving the needle for me, Lonzo. He's moving the needle. He's a guy that when he got hired, I got a promo running. I said, South Carolina fans, you got to get up off me. My job is not to talk about the rainbows and the unicorns every day. I got to ask questions that may feel like harsh criticisms to your team. And those questions, that segment, that promo was designed as a response to the Shane Beamer reports. Who is this guy? Never coached before. But I've been talking to folks that are covering this team. Corey Diaz, from the Greenville News is going to be joining us tomorrow on the show. Friday on the show to introduce himself to you guys. Then next Monday, he's going to start calling us to talk Carolina football every Monday through the season. On Sunday, I sat at a bar and talked with him, asked him about Shane Beamer. You know what he said to me? Dude's got him motivated. He's not a Carolina fan. He's from Alabama. He went to the University of Alabama. He said, as a Bama guy, I see a very young Nick Saban out of this guy. He's detail-oriented. He's driven. He's dedicated. He's got his system down precisely. He can be a little hard-edged, but the players love him. The players love him. I love it. Now, to a Carolina football guy that's moved the needle the opposite direction. A guy that when he showed up in the Carolinas, I was going, hey, guys, chill. I think this is a good move. And now I'm kind of like, maybe I misjudged early. Let me grab clip number 5, if you don't mind, Lonzo. This is the starting quarterback for your Carolina Panthers. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold did an interview with Peter King after practice earlier this week. And Peter King asked him 4 questions. And I got them for you. All 4 answers. I'm going to play you the first one. Peter King said, you're in Charlotte. How's it feel? That was basically the question. Lonzo, I want you to listen to this answer and tell me, is this a guy that motivates you?
It's been great, Peter. Just to be out here and competing with, these great players and, to be able to call Charlotte home right now and just meeting my teammates, getting to know them over the last few months, the coaches. It's been amazing just to be able to call this place home and how welcoming everyone has been. It's been amazing.
Wow. I got to tell you, I'm pretty pumped to move to Charlotte now.
You're just too quick to judge some people because you've never hung with the guy. This might be how he talks all the time. This might actually be him being motivated.
Exciting.
Words don't win football games, Rob.
I know. But then I pair that with what I've seen out of him as a quarterback in the preseason, and I'll tell you, it's pretty average stuff.
If you listen to a Bill Belichick interview, would you think that he's one of the winningest coaches of all time?
No.
Exactly.
However, after Tom Brady left, he's been pretty average too.
It was one season. We'll see what happens this year.
Could you imagine if I did my whole show the way that Sam Darnold talks? We would not have a Star Award because there's nothing motivating there.
It definitely would be challenging.
Let me go to clip 5A, please. Peter King asked Sam Darnold about his learning experience through his time at New York.
Would you stop?
And his time in Carolina. And this is what Sam Darnold said.
Definitely a learning experience. I think, whenever you lose or you go through a struggle, I always look at it as a lesson that I learned. And so I'm just going to continue to look at it that way. And I learned so many different things, good and bad, when I was in New York. I have so many great experiences in New York. The people, the memories I share with people there. It was just, they were amazing experience. Obviously, we didn't win as much as we should have, which I take a lot of responsibility for. But at the same time, I shared a lot of great memories with people and learned, like I said, from a lot of different things.
Do you find that you think that the experience that you had there, do you fervently believe it's going to make you better?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to have that mindset, as a professional quarterback, but I truly believe that, having the experiences that I had in New York and then coming out here and, maybe seeing a certain bliss, especially, playing against the Colts, a team that we struggled against, that I struggled against last year, to be able to come out here and compete against these guys and not make the same mistakes that I did last year. That's how I'm going to continue to grow. And, I think just continuing to make those steps and those leaps is going to be a huge key for me.
All right. So that's Sam Darnold. Texter just said, ESPN, I think you're a little critical of Darnold's tone. I am.
Yeah. First of all,
I acknowledge that.
If I hadn't seen him, I would think that he is studious. I would think that he is a student of the game. I know it's kind of the same thing. I would think that he's a nerd and that you're cracking on nerds.
Oh, yeah. You know me. Big cracker of nerds.
Yeah. And it's why.
Interesting that you started that sentence by saying, if I hadn't seen him. So you've seen him.
Yes.
What do you think since you've seen him? And apparently it changed your mind.
Well, that would be me being stereotypical, profiling, things like that. Because if I looked at him, I would think he was a punk from California.
Okay. All right. I am being critical of Sam Darnold's tone, and it's because of the fact that when he got picked up, my thought was what? I had 2 thoughts. Number one, I do blame Adam Gase. Adam Gase has had 2 other quarterbacks that have been bad under him that have went on to be good. Ryan Tannehill being one of them, who when we do our quarterback fantasy draft advice on Monday is going to be one of the guys I'm going to tell you up front, look towards this guy with Julio Jones in the field. And there is still a chunk of me that thinks maybe if it is all on Adam Gase, maybe there is a possibility that I'm all wrong about Sam Darnold. But I heard somebody describe Sam Darnold when he got picked up by the Panthers in a trade as like bland even for vanilla. Like he's the blandest form of vanilla out there. And the more I listen to him, the more I think you're right. And part of what I need.
That guy's Andy Dalton.
No, Andy Dalton's got more emotion than
There's no
got more emotion, more emotion than the vanilla pudding. All right, I believe that. He was described as incredibly bland when he got picked up by the Panthers, and the more I've seen him, both as a player and a guy up behind the mic, I agree. And this is not because I've already got one person who texted and said, you're just saying this because you want to join Mark Ryan on the should have gotten Justin Fields thing. No, I'll stand by what I said. I think Adam Gase held Sam Darnold back from being a good quarterback. I've seen good things out of Sam Darnold. I'm worried, however, that it's going to take some time to develop and that he's not going to rally guys around him. Because if I got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Run CMC, and I got this young core of guys, Terrence Marshall Jr., I want somebody who's going to rally them, who's going to get them pumped to go out there and bust it on the field. And I don't see that out of Sam Darnold.
But he doesn't have to be, because Christian McCaffrey is that guy on the offense. You don't need two of those guys doing that. McCaffrey's out there. He's pumping them up. He's getting them excited. And he learned from someone who definitely knew how to do that, and that was Cam Newton. If he comes out there and he's docile and his interviews are bland like this, but he wins games, does that matter?
Look, if we're in week 6 and the Panthers are 5-1, 6-0, and Darnold's going for 72% down the field with 200-yard games consistently, I'll come back and amend all of this. But right now, I think it's going to take time, and I don't think the Panthers want to afford it to him.
A fiery, good interview does not necessarily mean that player's good.
I agree. I'm not saying this is it. I'm saying I'm pairing this with what I've seen out of him on the field, and I don't see many things I'm excited about on the field yet. I thought he would have broke out by now, and I just haven't seen it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, let's see. Texter says, hey, Rob, it's going to take some time, a little bit. Sam Darnold's in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine, just fine. Anyway. I appreciate the reference. I do. The middle. I don't even know where to go from that. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Harley-Davidson of Greenville is your motorcycle lifestyle shop in the area. Here's the deal, guys. And I've told you all about how riding is one of my favorite things in the world. It is. I've told you all about how riding around the upstate is some of the best riding in the country. It is. But here's the deal. If you are new to it, if you are new to riding or you want to get into riding, it's a pretty cool thing. You can go there, first and foremost, talk with them about getting in on their riding academy. That's where I learned to ride, actually. I learned in the Harley Riding Academy a number of years back. The Riding Academy will get you 100% prepared, even if you've never been on a bike before. And you're interested. You want to know how it works. If you've never been on a bike before, go see Harley-Davidson of Greenville. Get in on their next Riders Academy. They will teach you everything you need to know from the ground up, from the wheels up, about how to ride. Then, once you get comfortable, once you get ready, and you realize, hey, Rob was right, I'm hooked, and I want to ride all the time, Harley-Davidson has not only all the brand new 2021 models with the new paint schemes and the new finishes and the new gadgets and the new gizmos so that you can customize a bike to be the bike of your dreams. But on top of all of that, they have the largest pre-owned inventory in the area as well. So maybe you're not looking for a brand new bike. Maybe you want to ease your way into it just a little bit. Well, good news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Harley-Davidson of Greenville can help you do just that. They have got a pre-owned bike that will fit your budget, that will fit the style of riding you want to do. But you got to go see them right now. Go to 30 Chrome Drive in Greenville, 30 Chrome Drive in Greenville, or visit them online at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com to see the entire inventory and get up on the back of a piece of Americana. It's our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville. I'm sure you've seen these comments, but this made me laugh more than it should have.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Chris, the guy who commented on it,
Yeah.
he is. I went to recording school with him.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's from Michigan, and he's all right.
Love it.
Weird.
Sports alert, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Coming up on a hump day episode of Offside with Mark Ryan, if you could make your pick as to the rivalries that we see each and every year in college football that we're not currently getting, what would you say? We've got Truth Serum, great guests, and so much more coming your way on a hump day episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel.
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Ryan now. It's 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
This of all time. So, most of the time this comes up when speaking about sports, but let's talk about your future life.
Speaking of ponytails, did you know that Robert Stone from the Robert Stone brand actually has long hair?
Does he?
He wrestled last night.
Really?
Yes, and he's got a fairly long ponytail. He's hidden that all this time.
I was going to say, I don't recall having seen that ever.
So I was like, wait, is that a... How in the world did he hide that? I haven't watched that yet, Keegan, but I'm going to watch it tonight when I get home. I know a lot of criticism or some criticism over the first one, and I don't get it. The first episode I thought was excellent. So I'm definitely looking forward to tonight's episode or today's episode, whatever. It is interesting also that it took, all the way into hour number 3 before song lyrics were.
It usually does.
It's usually you. Someone felt like it was necessary. Good for them. Can't do a show without some lyrics, man. There's a box in the office. The box hasn't been opened or installed, but there's a box. A box that I don't believe was there last time
Chris
went past.
brought it in when it came in earlier. It's my...
Oh, I know what it is,
okay.
But the fact that he was going to work on it while we were on the air, that was the joke.
Oh, as in the box is still there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I shouldn't complain, he did find me a hammer earlier and helped me with my problem. So. That is a great question, Tommy. And here's the problem. Rob has suddenly wanted to be humble, and we're only 4 or 5 days in on this victory, and it needs to be shouted from every rooftop that we can possibly get onto legally.
My name says award winner.
I will also be sending an email to someone later asking where our liners are, because they have shown up on another station. And I get
we do need to get some new liners.
Yes, we do.
How have I not thought about that yet? I'll be dadgummed.
It's Wednesday. I get not having it Monday, but it's Wednesday. We should have had it by now. somehow it'll be my fault. But, shoulders and all, I'm good. They don't want to leave it to us, though.
Correct. We would have some fun with it, though. Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. A great one. Lonzo sitting directly across from me. 844-477-3776. 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us at 71307, 71307 on the Ingles Market text line.
Be sure to text in song lyrics only for the rest of the show.
If you text from this point forward for the remainder of the show, your text must come in the form of song lyrics. Get me clip number 3. Because we have a 2-minute segment here. I have a reason for doing this, though.
Thought you wasn't going to talk about this.
No. We are not going to talk about what this clip is about, but it's setting up for another conversation that I want to have very briefly. This is Urban Meyer being pressed by the media after cutting Timmy Terrific.
How tough was the Tebow cut today?
Oh, it's tough. We cut 5 players. We 2 receivers that I think have a future in the NFL. Daniel Ross has played a lot of football, and a player from JT Daniel from Georgia. So it was tough, but we knew that was an uphill battle for Tim, and players loved him, locker room loved him, but it was the right thing.
Is this the end of the road for Tim? NFL, professional football?
I would guess it is. We didn't get that deep with it. Obviously, he's his own man. Elite warrior, elite competitor, but he's also 34 years old.
How did you think he took it?
Great. We talked last night, and we talked again this morning, as I did with the other guys.
What do you think was the most difficulty he had? Was it the route running or the pass?
No, it's special teams. This whole roster management is really critical as we journey here into the next 2 weeks. Offensive players that, 2 of the special teams phases are tackling. And you never tackled. That's what I found myself, and I still find myself, all of us. Every off day we'll have a 2 to 3 hour meeting about roster management. And it comes down because we expect to be very good in special teams. And tight end position is one of those, and tailback, if you can't contribute on special teams, that's a tough go.
So Herb says he couldn't block, he couldn't tackle, he couldn't contribute on special teams, he had to go. Certainly sounds like a guy with immense
I only heard the can't tackle part. Maybe
you didn't hear the entire clip where he said he couldn't contribute on special teams.
Yeah, but
he said there's 3 phases of special teams, and he talked about them, and then he said he couldn't even fit in on special teams. The point is, I was right. And I told you from the beginning I was right. And people wanted to crack on me because you just hate Tim Tebow. No, I was right. He's not a good football player. All right. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up.
Do all lovers of Tim Tebow have a Southern accent? I'm just curious.
Where I'm from, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Earlier in the day, there was another sports commentator who decided to jump in on Twitter because, of course, he did. And he said, and I quote, Tim Tebow has received more criticism than Deshaun Watson. What's that tell you? Now, this commentator, I'll call him, this commentator.
So you're saying he's wrong?
Very.
Not from what I've seen. I've never really thought about that, but I think he's pretty close to being correct.
You think there's been more criticism? Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Let me read it as he said it. Tim Tebow has received more criticism than Deshaun Watson. You think that, not the Jaguars, not Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow personally.
I heard how you said it. And how
you
he
think
said
Tim
it,
Tebow's taking more criticism than Deshaun?
And I would say from my perspective, yes. But again, it depends on your circles and how much sports you watch and how, if you constantly have SportsCenter on or another show on or things like that, if it's always in the background, maybe you're going to hear more of one than the other, but I think he's kind of correct.
I don't think he's anywhere close to correct. At all. I think Deshaun Watson has gotten roasted. Now, I think that the attorneys for both parties in the Deshaun Watson case have done what they can do to, up until yesterday or the day before, keep it out of the limelight for that exact reason. I think Deshaun Watson has taken more criticism for being a alleged felonious sexual assaulter than Tim Tebow has taken. The difference is that when we talk about Tim Tebow, we're talking about football. And what this conversation does is exactly what I've been complaining about. It sets up this thing where if you're talking bad about Tebow, it's because you're talking bad about him as a person. I'm not. The majority of people aren't. I'm sure there are some people that are talking about Tim Tebow as a person, but the majority of us are simply saying he's not a good football player. He was in his 20s. He was in his 20s at Florida and the first couple of years of football in the NFL. But he's not a good football player today. And it's disingenuous when people say he's not a good football player today at 34, and he got handed this opportunity when there are younger players who would have a better chance at making the league than a 34-year-old we knew was not good at football before he got there.
What's this we stuff? I mean, you're projecting onto everybody when you're saying we knew he was not good at football.
I asked you if you'd bet a paycheck that he would make the team, and you wouldn't take that bet.
You
are part of we.
Doesn't mean he's bad at football.
Not good enough at football to make an NFL team. I knew that.
That's not how you worded it.
Oh, no, I think he's bad at football. I think I showed you 2 clips yesterday that show you he's bad. Okay.
I'm guessing there's some
No.
that he's pretty good at football.
Today, he's not good at football. 18 years ago, he was great at football, or 14 or 12 or whatever it was. In the early aughts, he was great at football.
You know, if I was one of the things that really bother you, I would say you're getting very emotional and angry over someone who's not that good at football. And
I am. You know why? Because every time you tell me I'm doing it because I don't like Tim Tebow, you're calling me a bad person, and I'm tired of it.
How's that calling you a bad person?
Because the criticism is what? You're saying this about Tebow because you don't like that and it's always he puts his faith on display, or he takes a knee for prayer and this, that, and the other. That has literally nothing to do with it. Nothing. And now Clay is saying that people like me, this guy, this loser.
That's the first time you mentioned.
Yeah, I apologize. I said I wasn't going to
say
say his name, but this guy is saying that people like me are criticizing Tim because we're trying to put down the Christians more than Deshaun Watson, which is blatantly untrue. Go search Twitter.
I didn't hear him say that in the quote that you said earlier. That's just an awful lot that you've put in there that I didn't hear him say. There's probably more to it, and you just found that one small part that you were
I went
quoting.
with what he put on the headline to get people to click his website.
Okay.
That's where I took that from.
Did you click his website?
No, absolutely not. I won't give him that.
So how do you know the substance of what he's saying?
Want that to be what I took away from it, that he shouldn't have put it as the headline of what he asked me
How
to
many
click on.
times have you clicked on something and it had nothing to do with what the headline was?
Many.
Yes.
Many. But he's not getting my click for saying something dumb.
So there might be something of substance in there that you might actually agree with.
Texas says the NFL should have done with Deshaun what MLB did with Bauer, removed him from all activities as soon as the allegations arose. Texter says ESPN, where Rob comes from, Tebow fans have an accent. Where Rob comes from, Deshaun's gotten roasted. Where Rob comes from, they're just trying to make a living and probably working hard to get to heaven. Where Rob comes from.
That's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen.
Texter says not only is Tebow bad at football, he's so bad he couldn't even make the team that is the worst team in the NFL. Texter says heathen Rob Brown drags poor Timmy Terrific through the mud again. I'll have Tim on as my co-host tomorrow. Tim, you want a job? I'll have you on as my co-host tomorrow.
I'm guessing he'll be back on the SEC network.
Yeah, I think
be pretty busy.
They might pay a little bit more. Might.
Let me ask you, is he good enough to be on the SEC network?
Yes.
Okay.
He's good on TV.
I'm just curious.
He's a good analyst. I'd have him on this show as a co-host tomorrow. I might even let him change the show's name to the Tim Tebow and Rob Brown show. I might let him put his name first on the marquee. Maybe. Because he's good.
I don't think we could do that this year since we are the reigning, defending, undefeated.
All right, he have to earn it for next year.
Yeah, there's that.
Point is, he's good.
You don't change the brand right after you make the brand.
No, not after it gets put on the trophy.
Yeah, you don't do that.
No. Point is, this is a dumb take. It's a dumb take. He is not getting more criticism. You know what this tells me? What this tells me that this guy said this is a couple of things. Number one, it tells me that it's not true. Number two, it tells me his grift is getting worse. Number three, it tells me that the self-persecution outrage machine is chugging along just fine. Just fine. Number four, it tells me he's not paying attention to the situation. Numbers five, it's telling me that his grift is so bad that it's that easy to pick out. That's it. That's it. Oh, here he comes. Lonzo to defend Tebow. Oh, here he comes. He's a fan healer. I don't know where fan healer, you were close.
Yeah, it's
fan healer.
Yeah.
It's a great effort.
Someone say I don't know how to rhyme, so if I say that rhymes just fine, I would get more criticism. So I'm not going to do that.
I'd say I think tomorrow the game tomorrow is all text for all 3 hours. Must be song lyrics. All right, 844 GSP ESPN. Point of all of that is no. Bad take. Bad take. Boo this man. Bad take. Quick break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
I think if there's anybody that just a mere mention of their name just makes me mad, and there's nothing they could say that I would agree with. I'm sure there's somebody.
I bet you there is.
You are meant through contrarianism, whether that's a word or not.
It is.
I like it. Want to like this person, even though I've never. And you shouldn't do that. Uh-oh. Justin Fields injured.
He'll be all right.
Them groin injuries hard to come back from. Also known as a growing injury.
Texter wrote back to apologize for not being able to stick the landing on that lyric. For the record. Oh, that was Stacks with the song lyric. It was close. You were all over it. You were right there.
Well,
I think if we'd have given you like 30 more seconds, you'd have come up with it.
I just, the song.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Oh, I don't know that I could come up with something better. Stacks, I'm just telling you, you had me. I was all in. I was singing it for you. That's how dedicated I was to that lyric. And I just got the last word, and I'm like, oh, the landing, it was a little wobbly. It's like the perfect synchronized dive, except for like the splash is just a little too high. Still really impressive. What rhymes with man-eater? Something defeater. I don't know. It's great. That's a good one. Now I'm going to be spending the rest of the day. I'm going to go to the office to put promos in and just end up trying to rewrite Man-Eater about Lonzo's love of Tim Tebow.
Peacekeeper? I don't know. Yeah, but see, Cake Eater uses Eater for some reason. Everyone's acting like you can't do that. I don't know how that applies within the lyric, though. You have a golf cart in the next break. So it turns out that dead air had something to do with someone putting something in the wrong spot. And apparently I am one of the people being accused.
Urban Meyer cutting Tim Tebow.
You pull up the Firefox browser and tell me what the web URL is for the logger. I know it's like 10.21.something.something. Should be.
Or I could just pull it up here and tell
That's
you.
it. I forget the 10.21.
.32.97. Yep.
Hey, I corrected it, sir. I corrected it. You can come in and go off on me now.
I thought he said YouTube. Did he say YouTube?
He did. He said you too, unless he means he's
I
going
thought he said
after
YouTube.
Bono.
But,
Oh.
so he's
going after Bono now.
Oh, so he's pulling it. Okay. He's pulling it from the.
That must be what he wanted it.
Yeah,
for.
he needs to pull it from the skimmer.
He's not going to play the apology. He's just going to be the part where we roasted
Well,
him and then not play the
well,
apology.
the better
I
part
will
would
call
be
into
to
their
just
show.
grab it from where it's saved without all the music and all the other stuff. You know, there's an easier way to do it, but you know. Faith Healer actually would probably work better. Tommy, you're right. In the realm of what we're talking about, I suppose. Better not come at me. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. That was you.
Since we've been threatened by Diesel, who is walking around chunking his hands up in the air like he's just knocked down a game-winning
He is coming to
hot boys.
and
Coming after you on our show, and I said, "Well, just come after me on my own show."
does that mic not work? Did you turn it on?
He's just not ready. He's got
okay.
to get his headset. He's
All
got to
right.
make sure the beard looks good.
I was gonna say, do I
Off my head, Rob.
Hey, Diesel.
Good God! Stop
What's
yelling.
your problem?
Stop yelling! I sent some audio to Lonzo.
Okay.
And it's two very, very short clips. It is audible evidence of what you spoke of early in the show. You started your show talking about us.
Yes.
So
you guys on the show
I question
yesterday.
your level of show prep if you start your show talking about us.
You got first off, don't you dare. Second off,
I've already lost.
don't even need it, because here's what happened yesterday on Offsides. There was a guy who texted in who said that his girl knew more about sports than him. Mark said he should dump her. I accused incorrectly both of you of saying that you should dump her, and I went back and apologized.
So
and
here's
corrected.
the audio that I sent to Lonzo, but he
he
won't
doesn't
open.
have
But
it.
he
He
won't
doesn't
open
have
his
email.
email address again.
I don't.
Next, what did the audio say? And let me phrase that. What did I do wrong that's got you all hot and bothered, buddy?
So Mark read the text message on the air.
Yep.
And in his took him 4 minutes to pack in a 30-second story here. He said he could not date a Category 3 woman because they are exhausting.
Category 3 being the women who know more about sports than you do.
Right, the women who will sit, who are Clemson fans, but will watch North Carolina.
How
Miami.
could anyone?
Mark said that he could be exhausted by that type of woman, and you were absolutely correct in that. But then you said there's another guy on that show who said the same thing, that he couldn't date women like that, and I had to correct you, sir.
Why didn't you turn?
all, you said that I was listening to the show, and while that might be mildly true, I was listening to the show before yours and just didn't get enough time to turn it to the Yacht Rock station on the Odyssey app, which is amazing. Juggeryacht is amazing.
It's amazing. I agree.
But yeah, you were absolutely categorically wrong about my assessment of Category 3 women.
I took your side, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know.
You found Juggeryacht because you didn't hear the second part, which is where I read your text on the air and said I was wrong. Now, what I think what I heard was that you described your better half, of which you have dramatically outkicked your coverage.
Yeah.
You described your better half as a Category 1.5, and I think I just clicked it with that means that's what you wanted.
She's into going to Super Bowl parties and going to the tailgates, but she doesn't give a rip about that.
Right. She's not going for the game. She's going for the social scene, which is fine. I've described my lady as a Category 2 in that she loves her team and she will watch anything that has the Gamecocks attached to it. She will watch the games that I want to watch. Like when my opening college football game, she's already like made plans to be at the bar for that evening kickoff and all that. But outside of that, like she's not watching Miami, Alabama in week 1. She's like, whatever, I'll catch up with that later. I just connected it to you saying that you couldn't date a 3 because you are dating a 1.5. And that was my mistake. That's on me. So I apologize. You just said, that's enough of this, jackass. Click, and went to Juggeryacht is what happened. Let's be honest here.
Well, they were playing Kenny Loggins at the time, so you can't compete with Kenny Loggins.
I'm all right. Nobody worry about me.
Truthfully, the real perfect woman is somewhere in the 2 range, shading 3.
I think it depends. If you can find a 3 who is on the same team as you, right? Like I'm a Saints fan, if I can find a 3 who is a Saints fan, that's fine because I'll never have to in my life worry about missing a Saints game over a wedding or antiquing or whatever. But if you're dating another NFL team, a woman who's a fan of another team who's a 3 and also a fan of like another NFL team, you're probably still okay because at least she'd understand the passion you put into your team. But if you ain't a 3, then a 3 ain't good for you.
Here's one piece of truth about me. I once refused to date a girl because she was a Furman alum.
Right.
Because I'm an Appalachian State alum. And at the time, Furman was a rival. Guess where Ashley went to school?
She's a Furmaner.
Yeah, she is.
F you.
Yeah, she is.
And that's what she says to you. Like she's like, yeah, F you.
Yeah, more often than you think.
No, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. So I have to issue an apology. Diesel did not say don't date a 3. He said keep a 3. They're unicorns. We are corrected and fixed. Diesel Texter says, Rob, tell Diesel not to come in yelling at the #1 sports talk show host in all of South Carolina.
You know, it's kind of funny when you're in a relationship and then the ex shows up and then suddenly you see that there's still love there and you kind of pushed aside and you industry and I'm so glad that there's only one segment left in the show so
would it make you feel better to take us to break? Hey, do you want a hug?
No.
Do you?
Yeah, by Diesel.
Ouch. All right, well. Tommy in the Facebook chat says, Mark can't date a Category 3 because then that will be just one more person that can tell him more about sports than he knows. Texas, anything above 2 puts you in a precarious position of not having your own things for yourself. You could call it a danger zone. Lonzo may or may not do Twitter trending topics with us when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
$2021 golf card on sale now. 9 courses, 9 rounds of golf around the entire upstate. You're getting it all. $499, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that simple. $99. You are playing 9 rounds of golf at 9 beautiful courses for less than $15 a round. It's just that simple. You can take you and 3 other persons golfing. It's going to cost you like $45 total for that round with you and 3 friends. Imagine the business meetings you can get done, right? When your pitch isn't, hey, I'll buy you lunch, but hey, I'll take you to play a free round of golf at one of the nicest courses in the area. Tell me they're not going to go crazy for that. Tell me that your significant other, if they play with you, isn't going to love 9 surprise golf dates together. Help me help you, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Upstate Golf Cart. Heck, I could get one for Lonzo, and he would forgive me for having Diesel on the show if he golfed. That's how good these things are. Go to upstategolfcard.com to get yours. It is the 2021 Upstate Golf Card.
So because I didn't want to have to use the password on my phone, it's different for me to log into my email. They actually call me and then they give me a code and I have to put the code into the email in order for me to log in. Was not an excuse. By the time that was done, we would have went to break. So now, if when he came in here and asked for the website for the skimmer, if he would have told me, hey, I'm going to send you an email,
right,
I would have had time to actually have my email up. But he didn't do that.
I love that he listened to the part of the show that made him mad and then tuned out when we corrected it on the air live.
He listened to the entire bit. There's no way he turned away. Plus, I spent a good portion of your guys back and forth just making fun of you on the stream. Both of you. So, I mean.
I don't know why I love this tweet, but I love this tweet.
Oh, I just saw the name up there and I thought it was somebody else who tweeted it.
I just love the tweet itself.
Just so unnatural looking. It's just, I feel sorry.
Yeah, I wonder if it's doing that on purpose or like it's got a deformity. Either way, hilarious.
Or if there were injected hormones or something, and that's what those look like when you get those abnormal chicken breasts.
I have a new segment for us. Remind me to tell you after the stream's over because I want to see if you think it would work or not. It's a non-sports segment.
As long as it's not Diesel coming in every day.
No, it's not. It's not. Are you jealous of? Are you a jilted lover?
No, I actually did almost cut him off because there was an accusation there that I was not playing his audio on purpose.
Oh, true. He really did. There really was. You're not wrong.
That bothered me.
There was.
Everything else I could care less about. Because that implied that I was being dishonest. And I have no problem with playing audio back, which I do all the time. And I'll shut my email down when I want to. Because I'm the boss. All right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics where I tell Rob what is trending. He will tell all of us what he knows about it. Is Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder. Did my man get a contract? Or did he do something dumb on Twitter?
All right, Jay Crowder is trending because he got into the DMs of a person trying to get in there.
Okay, all right.
And
all right.
he got shut down, and it was public. Him trying to get into a DM of a famous model, I believe it was, an Instagram model.
Okay.
And she shut him down. And I didn't read all the details because I'm sure it may have gotten graphic, so I didn't want to.
I am seeing right now. I went ahead and pulled it up because I was curious, and apparently the last message he sent to this was it said, "Hey, love, you have my attention. Send me your snap, please." With a emoji.
Yeah,
emoji.
like don't tell anybody.
Right. And then the last message, sorry, IDK if you're into black guys or not. All right. Which whatever. I mean, that's cool. I get it. Whatever. The only reason this will be a problem is if Jay Crowder is married. I don't know if he is or not. If he ain't married, I don't care. Whatever, shoot your shot, young man. Just don't. What was the cat for Charlotte a couple days ago that ended up getting an Instagram model pregnant after, like, he married her, got her pregnant, and then right after she got pregnant, she immediately filed for divorce for like half his money. Did you see that story?
I did not.
Oh, we go. All right, remind me. We'll bring that up tomorrow. Remind me. We'll bring that up. It was a Charlotte. I forgot the name. But he got he married an Instagram model pregnant. Married an Instagram model, got her pregnant, and then immediately after she got pregnant, she immediately filed for divorce, and now is like in for half his money. Like straight up was calling him an idiot right after she filed for divorce. Right? Remind me tomorrow. We'll tell that story because it's sad. It is. PJ Washington. Yes, thank you, Texter. That's exactly what it was. We'll tell that story tomorrow. Mark Ryan and Diesel are up next. I'm Rob. He's Lunzo. We'll try harder on the Thursday edition of the show, The Rob Brown Show. The award-winning Rob Brown Show. Right here on ESPN Upstate. Later, brother. Thank you all on the stream. See you tomorrow. Hasta luego.